Fisher. I'm Zach Kaplan. The Kettleers back at home today for the first time since June 26th, this last Tuesday, and hopefully that'll inspire some good play from them. The Kettleers now 8-8 on the season. Almost like a Jeff Fisher novel. They've lost their last two to get to 500, and hopefully they can get back into it. Ben, the Chatham A's are in town today. The Harwich Mariners are the last team they played at home, but Chatham in town today. It's supposed to be the third game they played this year, but instead it's the second. So here come the Anglers, but the Kettleers are really in need of a win.
Oh yeah, they've been looking sort of. It's not just that they're losing; it's that they've been looking sort of uninspired. They're sort of boring losses in games where there's not much energy. So I think this is definitely a game where they want to, even if they can't pull out a win. I think the coaches and the fans and even the players, they just want to see. They just want to show something. They want to show some fight, show some spirit, show something to carry forward. Because all in all, one game on the first day of July isn't going to make or break a season, but a long-term lack of energy really could.
Absolutely, and the Kettleers are hoping it won't become an issue. Coach Roberts, we spoke to him after yesterday's game, adamant about that point. To recap the last week, of course, after we got off the air, Kettleers with a tough loss to the Harwich Mariners, but then coming back to beat Bourne on Wednesday, up just by the bridge, and then rained out Thursday here in Orleans. All 5 Cape League games are rained out. Some torrential downpours at times. It felt biblical here on the Cape. But regardless, that makeup game July 10th, you can put that in your calendars. That'll be made up right here at Lowell Park. And then the Falmouth loss on Friday, we're going to talk about that. Just a collapse by the Kettleers in the 6th inning, and it led to an extra innings loss. It won't become for this team a really tough one, sort of shocking in a lot of ways. Kettleers had their chances to win that game, but just couldn't do it. And then the YD loss yesterday, sort of that uninspired baseball, like you mentioned yesterday. But it's good to be back here, and considering that road inconsistency, how good does it feel to be back for the Kettleers? And what sort of play are you looking for from them today after some of the inconsistencies that we've seen on the road?
I think just energy. I mean, skill-wise, I think once you get to this level, you don't have guys who are faring much different home and road because they're not in the Cape League. You're sleeping in your own bed every night, and you're not going on long road trips, you're not getting jet lagged or anything. So I think the actual quality of play between home and road, I think physically you're not going to be affected, but I think drawing energy from the fans, drawing energy from sort of familiar confines, and just sort of, I think even separate from the fact that it's a home game, just sort of coming off 2 consecutive losses. So I think this is a game where they're charged up to play, and I think getting to play in Lowell Park is just a bonus on top of that.
Not too hard to be charged up in this heat today. In the mid-80s expected to be by first pitch just a few moments from now, about 20 minutes or so. Let's talk about the good and the bad in the transactions, as always here. The good, obviously, that win over Bourne. It was nice to see the Bats come alive at Durand Park right by the bridge. The Bats have been starting to pick up in general. That Falmouth loss, their first loss on the year where they've scored more than 5 runs. Prior to that game on Friday, it had been, had the Kettleers scored more than 5 runs, they were undefeated. Had they scored 4 or less, they were winless. Falmouth, the only standout there in terms of that trend. And then the transactions, we had a lot to talk about there. It's been almost a week here. The activations, Brady Smith activated, and Ryan Reynolds also activated from the Florida Gators, fresh from Omaha and down here on the Cape. And then Duke Ellis from Texas, also from Omaha. They're active on the active roster today. Ellis and Reynolds both in the lineup. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But with 3 activations comes 3 releases, and unfortunately, Colby White, Ted Stuka, and Matt McCord have been let go from the Kettleers, and then permanently signed Will Robertson, who's been sensational at the bat. He's back now. The X-rays proving negative from that injury last week. Feels like a long time ago, but I got to refresh the viewers there. And then Eric Jones and Zach Bierman have also been signed permanently. They were originally temporary contracts. Let's talk about the activations here. 3 guys who have been in Omaha, used to the high leverage games, so obviously an early July game here, July 1st, as we sit on the Cape. A little less leverage, especially compared to Omaha, but nice to get a little bit of break, and now they're back here ready to play for Coach Roberts and company.
Yeah, certainly, and those are guys who can definitely help. We keep coming back to energy. Those are guys, they've had a couple weeks off. They haven't been slogging up here. They've been home. They've been with their families. They've been sort of, they've been relaxing a little bit. So hopefully, even if, instinctively you want, as soon as their season's over, you want them hopping on a plane, you want them coming in here and getting there as soon as they can. But I think on second thought, I think I'd rather have guys take that time off, take that time to recharge, and then get to a point where they're really ready to come out and play and compete. And I think that's where these guys have gotten. So I think the talent is certainly a boost. The bats and the defense are certainly a boost, and these guys are obviously great players from great programs. But I think having any new guys here would be exciting at this point, especially guys as talented as Reynolds and Ellis in the lineup today, and as Smith, who we'll see, I'm sure, in the coming week.
We're going to mention Ellis and Reynolds in a second, again, both in the starting lineup today for the Kettleers. But let's talk about what happened the last time these two teams played, or I should say the last one time was supposed to be times, as in a doubleheader last Sunday in Chatham. Game 1, a 6-1 Kettleers win. It was a 2-1 heading into the top of the seventh, again, a 7-inning game with a doubleheader setup in the Cape League. But the Kettleers, they were up 2-1, but then they got some power, courtesy of a Zach Bierman home run, of which we think is still in orbit. We'll let you know when that lands. Just shooting out of right field at Veterans Park in Chatham. And it was kind of all over from there. That was kind of all she wrote. Of course, Torkelson, who is now on Team USA, hitting the solo shot, so disrupting that pitcher's batting practice. They were 2 outs away from it. Of course, some upset feelings. Probably the most upset I've seen someone over a 6-1 loss. That the Kettleers pitching staff, they're very close to pitcher's batting practice, but nonetheless. So a lot of small ball, then a Tolia RBI single. The Bierman home run really set things up. Game 2 fogged out. It's going to be made up later this month at Veterans Field. The fog rolls in. Chatham's known for it, that infamous fog. It rolled in, and ironically, the same pitching matchup that was supposed to happen in Game 2 that day of Manoa for Chatham and Veneziano for Cotuit, it's going to happen today right in front of us.
Yeah, certainly, and I mean, we got, an inning of each of those guys, so I think sort of seeing how they match up against the other team is still sort of a theoretical exercise. But yeah, that fog was just, I'd heard about it. I assumed it was an exaggeration. I'd never been to Chatham before. And then it came in, and it feels weird to call a game for fog, but it was unsafe to keep playing. So as much as you hate with all the rainouts we've had, and it feels like we've gotten hit every single time a team gets rained out, it feels like we're involved in that game. So you hate to lose a game, but it wasn't safe to go on. But, Veneziano and Manoa, if they were looking forward to cracks at their opponents, they're going to get another one. So I think both coaches felt good about the matchup. Maybe they saw something in the first inning against the other team that they liked, but those guys are back out against them today.
Now let's talk about that Kettleers lineup. So some similarities at the top of the order, but as we get down, again, some differences. Leading off, Robertson, who's back in there in right field. He came back officially yesterday as the leadoff hitter once again, one of the better consistent hitters on this team, followed by Zach Bierman batting second, playing first. Michael Tolia, the designated hitter, batting third. Then Bo Brundage in the cleanup spot playing center field. We've seen a little bit of a resurgence from him at the plate of late. Corey Wood in the 5 spot, playing second, batting fifth. He had 3 hits yesterday against YD, 3 of 7 Kettleers hits, followed by Ryan Reynolds, the third baseman, batting sixth, making his Kettleers debut this season. Then Duke Ellis in the 7th spot, both one from Florida and Texas respectively, playing left field, followed by Mike Salvatore, who's been nice since he came on to the Kettleers at shortstop, batting 8th, and then Jones, Eric Jones that is, in the 9th spot playing catcher. His debut at catcher, he'll be catching the balls and strikes for Anthony Veneziano. So the Kettleers lineup there, you see a couple of adjustments, but let's talk about Chatham for a second here, Ben. Some interesting. It was kind of a rough start to the season for the Anglers, but they seem to have come back here. Fog has hurt them a little bit as well, not just in that Kettleers game. A lot of cancellations for them out on the Lower Cape. 8-6 on the season. They beat Harwich yesterday 5-1, and they've won their last 2. Now let's look at their lineup. Torkelson gone for them. You might remember him from that first game, like we mentioned earlier. But instead, it is Greg Jones leading off, playing center field. Then Colin Simpson batting second, playing left. Tristan English, who we saw in the first game, playing first.
43 is a good percentage. So they are aggressive, but they are by no means.
YD, who Kettleers played yesterday, that is. Just seemed to blow the doors off them, and that was a matchup of the first and second place teams in the Western Division. Is it that wide of a chasm, perhaps?
Oh, I don't think so. I think a 17-4 game has to be an outlier. But I think you don't win 12 games by accident. So I think they're for real. And we've been saying that they're going to be a different team when they lose those U.S. players, but they're still a very good team. So I think 17-4 is an outlier, but I think winning games and scoring up a lot of runs is not a fluke at all.
So let's quickly go around the Cape League. Just as we wrap things up here, we'll get you right up to Sam and Sam in just a couple moments. YD defeated Cotuit last night, like we mentioned, 4-1. That's just not going for the Kettleers. Orleans and Brewster tying at 3, whereas Wareham against 17-4 over the Harbor Hawks. Bourne 7-5 over Falmouth. You like the little Boston accent there, Ben? Chatham 5-1 over Harwich to round things out. All 5:30 starts tonight. We start at 5 here at Lowell Park, but YD at Wareham, Hyannis at Harwich, Bourne at Orleans, and then Brewster at Falmouth. So some interesting games there on the slate. we'll update you on those as we go on here throughout the broadcast. We're going to send it up to Sam and Sam in just a few moments. We got the bucket hats on here. It's a hot day at Lowell Park in the mid-80s. The humidity bringing it into the low 90s. So if you come and bring some sunscreen, bring some shade, because everybody here needs it. That'll about do it for us, Ben. We'll see if the Kettleers can get above 500 tonight, looking to go to 9-8 on the season with the win over Chatham. It's the second and a half time, if you will, that these teams have played this season. We'll see how it goes. That'll do it for our broadcast. On behalf of Ben Fisher, I'm Zach Kaplan. Thanks for listening, everybody. Now let's send it up to our broadcast booth where Sam Brief and Sam Niederman have the call. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Ben. Sam, it's
today. Hopefully that shakeup by Coach Roberts will lead to more production.
Speaking of Coach Roberts, Sam and I had a chance to catch up with Coach Roberts
we
right
are
before
here
the
on
game,
the field with head
talk
coach
about
Mike Roberts
some of the
and
roster
Coach,
turnover and some of the new guys we'll see in the lineup today.
6-1 win. What kinds of things can you take over from that?
Well, not a lot. We've got new players. They've got new players. We've got different guys in the lineup. So, and both pitchers are the ones who started the second game and got fogged out. So, there are a few things you can take, but it's a new ball game. We look forward to playing.
Mike Salvatore is one of those new players, and he's been really stellar his first few games. What have you seen from him?
Well, I like his consistency. Every at bat, you get same guy, whether he makes an out or gets a walk or base hit. You just see a guy who's very balanced at the plate. And, again, that's normal Florida State guys. They are very consistent in their play. Mike Martin and his staff do a great job. So we're glad he's here and look forward to Duke Ellis and Ryan Reynolds getting a chance to play today in their first games. And hopefully they'll have similar consistency. And if they do, then we'll be a better club.
Of course, and yesterday the loss to YD, but Corey Wood was definitely a bright spot. 3 hits for him. What are you seeing from him as he gets back in the lineup today at second?
Well, yesterday was the first day that he's really swung the bat and gotten the ball in the outfield. He had hit a lot of rollover ground balls, and so I was very happy for him, and that's what you keep looking for. You keep looking for these bright spots of different guys, and then you hope as you head toward 1st of July, which we're almost into, in July 1, or we are into, that we have 4 or 5 or 6 of those guys that are having that consistency every day.
So you've said previously that, first few weeks of the season you were just trying out, getting a feel for your team. Now that we're in July, when does it start to turn into you've got your team and you see how they work?
Now, right now. I think most teams are close to being full and ready. And so now, we're 8-8, but to me we're 0-0, and we'll find out what this group of guys can do.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, you're welcome.
Awesome.
Hey, Coach, do you mind if we get some of the introductions from some of the guys like we did with you? Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. You stole my question there at the end. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I didn't want to go too long.
No.
Welcome back into Lowell Park. Happy July to everyone. It's time for the Kettleers and the Anglers here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It is a beautiful day, a little hot, about 90 degrees, sun beating down on Lowell Park, but ripe conditions for a good baseball game. And for the second consecutive Sunday, the Kettleers will take on their Eastern Division foes from Chatham. Sam Brief alongside Sam Niederman will have the action for you today from Lowell Park. And for the Kettleers, it's not a must-win game, but they certainly want to avoid dipping down to below 500 for the first time this season. And today against Chatham, a team who they had their number last time, it certainly could happen.
It's going to be a telling game today, Sam. I think this is a pivotal turning point earlier in the season for the Kettleers. And as Coach Mike Roberts indicated in our pregame interview, 8-8 is the record of this ball club, right at 500, completely neutral. Season starts again now. It starts now. 0-0 record. 8-8, it does not matter. You put it in the rearview mirror. No matter what has happened to this point, whether it be positive or negative for this side, you wipe it off and you go on. It's a new season. It's July 1st, a new month. Kettleers showed some promise in a lot of different areas in the first part of this year. A couple of areas to improve, and we'll see how they do there. The biggest thing is new additions to the roster, new players being added, and now we're going to see the crop that the Kettleers will be competing with for the rest of the summer.
We'll get to some of those new players in just a minute. We'll get to some of those Florida new players in just a minute. A Florida Gator and a pair of Texas Longhorns. But first, we'll start with the man on the mound for Cotuit. First, we'll start with the man on the mound for Cotuit. It's Anthony Veneziano, 6'5", 190-pound lefty, a junior out of Coastal Carolina by way of Hackettstown, New Jersey. He has one official start on the books this season. That was 2 Sundays ago against YD. He threw 3 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 4 hits, and struck out 3. Now, he did pitch 2 innings in that second game against Chatham last Sunday. There was a doubleheader between Cotuit and Chatham. The first game was a 6-1 win for Cotuit. The second one in the bottom of the second. So Veneziano went in the bottom of the second. Third, he gave up no runs, 2 hits, and a third, he gave up no runs, 2 hits against these Chatham strikeouts and a walk against these Chatham A's. That start is essentially erased from the record books. We will not speak of it, but Veneziano gets the call for the second or third time today, whatever you want to look at it as. On the opposite side will be another big righty. Again, the pitcher in that second game that was fogged out, it's Alec Manoa, the junior out of West Virginia, 6'7", 270. He's been great this season for the Anglers, 1-1, with an even 1.00 ERA, 11 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Veneziano comes set, and he'll face this Chatham lineup that leads the Cape with 18 home runs this season. Up and down, you'll see a lot of guys with multiple home runs, and it starts with Greg Jones out of UNC Wilmington. He has 3 long shots this season, takes a first pitch ball outside. And we are underway here at Lowell Park. Cotuit and Chatham. Here's the 1-0. It's outside for ball 2. For Tom Holliday's starting lineup for Greg Jones. Holliday's Chatham Anglers in center field. Greg Jones leads behind him. Colin Simpson in center field. Behind him, Colin Simpson in left. Tristan English at first base. As he fouls one off, count runs to 2-1. At the cleanup is Adam Fogel, the Hawaii Rainbow Warrior. He's in right field. Batting 5th and in second is Rankin Woolley. In the 6th hole and at DH is Drew Mendoza. Another foul ball popped up, and the count runs to 2-2 against Greg Jones. 7, 8, 9 is Jake Taylor at catcher, Brandon Fryman at shortstop, and Jorge Arenas at third base. Here comes the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3, and Anthony Veneziano gets us going with a strikeout swinging. Defense now, the battery mate today, getting his second start at catcher today, getting his second start at catcher this season. Wildcat is Eric Jones, black and red catcher's padding. Black and red base is Zach Bierman at second. At first base is Zach Bierman at second, Corey Wood. Shortstop Mike Salvatore as the first pitch comes in a bit high for ball 1 to Colin Simpson. And a new Kettleer at third base, Ryan Reynolds, the junior third baseman out of Texas, gets his first start of the season. Strike 1 comes in, and it's a 1-1 count against Colin Simpson. In the outfield, another new Kettleer, Duke Ellis, Reynolds' college teammate, another Texas Longhorn. He's in left. Here's the 1-1 from Veneziano. Slow chopper right back to Veneziano. He charges in, gloves it, and fires to first for out number 2. Rounding out the outfield, Bo Brundage in center and Will Robertson in right field. So again, 2 new Kettleers in the lineup today. It's Ryan Reynolds at third base and then Duke Ellis at left. Both of them are out of Texas and will offer some pop for the Kettleer lineup today. We're in the top of the first. Quick 2 outs from Veneziano. Now here comes Tristan English, who takes a first pitch ball.
You know, what's really interesting right off the bat, Ryan Reynolds at third base, Ryan Reynolds at third base, playing a little farther back. We're so accustomed to seeing Eric Jones at that third base defensive spot, and his trademark is playing in on the grass. Of course, Eric doing the catching today.
The 1-1 is tapped off foul.
And Reynolds did play in for the first batter, Greg Jones, but you never know about a leadoff bunt attempt. I'm sure that's where that came from. But he plays back here against a 3-batter in English.
It's a 1-2 count for English. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket for English. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. Veneziano looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Shakes off the first 2. Gets the signal he likes. This one swung on and hammered out to deep right center field. Coming over Brundage, he's got a beat, and he makes the play. So how about that? Anthony Veneziano working a nice 1-2-3 inning, and we head to the home half of the first right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here in Lowell Park, home half of the first soon approaching. No score yet, and on the bump right now for the Chatham Anglers doing his warm-ups is Alec Manoah, the 6'7", 270-pound junior out of West Virginia, originally from Miami, Florida. 1-1 record on the season, and even 1 ERA and 11 strikeouts. He got the start in the second game of the Sunday doubleheader last week, the fogged-out game against the Kettleers. And in the 2 innings he pitched, he was really good. No earned runs, just 1 hit, 4 strikeouts to 1 walk. To his battery mate right now, Jake doing the warm-ups to his battery mate him. Jake around the horn from third to first is around the horn from third to first is Jorge Arenas, Brandon Fryman, in the outfield, Colin Simpson in left, in the outfield, Greg Jones in center, and Adam Fogel. Greg Jones in center, and Adam Fogel. Mike Roberts in right field. Here's Mike Roberts, Kettleers starting lineup. You'll notice a few new names. We'll introduce them as they come to the plate, but it starts at the top with Will Robertson batting leadoff in right field. In the 2-hole is Zach Bierman. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleer is at first base. At the 3-hole, Michael Tolia gets the start at DH. Batting cleanup is Bo Brundage. He's out in center. At the 5-hole is Corey Wood. He starts at second. Batting 6th and 7th is the pair of the new Texas Longhorns, Ryan Reynolds at third, Duke Ellis in left. And then Mike Salvatore bats 8th, plays short, and Eric Jones in the 9-hole. He's the catcher today for the second time this season. Manoah against Robertson, our first matchup of the home half of the first, and the first pitch is a strike in there at 91 miles per hour. It's a very hot day. Welcome to July. 88 degrees, sunny, pretty much no clouds, and just a very slight breeze. Right now, the American flag in left is dead quiet. Here's the 0-1 to Robertson. It's a chopper right to the second baseman, Rankin Woley. He gloves it and fires to English at first for out number 1. Umpiring crew for you today, Mark Delaney behind home plate calling balls and strikes. At first is Rick Emerson, and at third is Tom Ryberg. The umpires are in their Sunday creams, the cream white shirts and the gray pants. Kettleers in their home whites with the maroon pinstripes up and down vertically. Kettleers in block red lettering across the front, and then the red caps and red helmets. Here comes the first pitch to Zach Bierman. It's inside for ball 1. Chatham in a very sharp road kit, a royal blue uniform with the script Chatham in white across the front, and then white pinstripe pants with the blue pinstripes, and then a blue cap with the red A across the front and a red brim. Bierman fights one off foul for strike 1. We're in the bottom of the first. 1-1 the count, 1 out, no one on for Zach Bierman. Still no score. This is the second matchup of the season officially between the Kettleers and the Anglers. Here comes the 1-1 to Bierman, swung on and skied foul off to the 1 and 2 right side, and the count runs to 1 and 2. Mike Roberts, the lead man for the Kettleers in his 15th season, and then his 15th season, and then a newbie on the roadside. Tom Holliday out of Oklahoma State. He's in his first season in Chatham, replacing the legendary John Schiffner, who's the all-time Cape League winner. This one fouled off straight back into the parking lot, and the count stays at 1-2. John Schiffner in the Cape League Hall of Fame, the winningest coach in Cape League history with 2 championships. And Tom Holliday and his perch at the dugout leading Chatham for the first time this year at Lowell Park. Here's the 1-2 to Bierman, off-speed pitch that he swings right through for a swinging strike 3. That's the first strikeout of the day for Alek Manoah, and now here comes Michael Tolia, the switch-hitting DH out of UCLA. Takes a few stretches. We documented yesterday on the broadcast the intricate stretching routine that Michael Tolia does. He gets down in I think he's stretching his hamstring or his quads.
It's a wide-legged forward fold, basically, and a couple of deep knee bends. Yeah, he's getting the hamstrings, that posterior chain.
First pitch to the stretched-out Tolia, runs inside. He takes it for ball 1.
I mean, he's a big fella. He's got to stay limber. He's got a lot of length, 6'4". That's a tall height.
We'll document his stretching there. He did that wide stretch. We'll see if he does any twists or arm stretches for his next at-bat. Here comes the 1-0 with 2 outs, hammered off foul, and the count runs to 1-1. Cotuit on a 2-game skid. Yesterday, the 4-1 loss to YD. Corey Wood was the only Kettleer with multiple hits. Right field gap. 3 singles into the right field gap. John Baker was the starter for the Kettleers. Andrew Doshbach, the big Stanford slugger for YD. Story of the game, 2 doubles and a home run. Here's the 1-1 to Tolia. It's outside for ball 2. Chatham coming off a 5-1 win at home against Harwich. Just 1 run on 4 hits for Harwich. This is a red-hot Chatham pitching staff. They've got the second-best ERA in the Cape at 2.89. It's a 2-1 count. Here comes Manoah with the pitch, swung on and belted deep into left field. Going back is Colin Simpson, and he makes the catch in the shadows right in front of the wall for out number 3. So a 1-2-3 inning for Cotuit and a 1-2-3 inning there for Alek Manoah of the Anglers, and we still have no score through 1 here at Lowell Park. We'll be back with more Cotuit Kettleer baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back. Top of the second at Lowell Park. No score between the Anglers and the Kettleers and fans. Please join us for Heroes in the Park. During the game against Friday, July 6th, we'll be honoring active and retired military personnel. Active and retired military personnel. Free hot dogs. Polar Cave certificates. Free hot dogs. Friday's event prior to our game at 5 p.m. Friday's event prior to our game at 5 p.m. will thrown out by local resident. First pitch being thrown out by local resident veteran 94-year-old Benjamin. So we hope you'll join us then. Al Benjamin. As always, we thank all active. As always, we thank all active and retired military personnel for your service. And we're back at it for the top of the second. Veneziano fires into first pitch ball low to Adam Fogel. Fogel, a 167 hitter on the season with 1 run batted in. Veneziano sets, and this is a chopper foul down the third base line. The count runs to 1-1. Cotuit coming into this game an even 500, 8-8. 4-3 record here in the friendly confines of Lowell Park. The 1-1 comes in high and tight for ball 2. Chatham 8-6-2, good for 3rd in the East. They're 4-2 away from home. It's a tap. Here comes the 2-1 to Fogel. It's a tapped grounder right into the glove of Mike Salvatore, who fires across the diamond for a quick out 1.
It's a good start for Anthony Veneziano, retiring the first 4 batters that he sees. And this is a guy that's going to pitch to contact. If that's what we've learned through his first couple of appearances, He's not going to strike out an ungodly amount of hitters, but he's going to get ground balls, and that's where he needs to live. Low in the zone, not up in the zone, to keep the hitters on the ground.
First pitch to Rankin Woley is fouled straight back. 0-1 count for Woley. His second start of the season. He's at second base out of Auburn. He started his college career at LSU and then transferred to Auburn. 2017, his freshman year, started just 8 games down in Baton Rouge, a .267 average, as he swings right through a pitch on the outside corner for strike 2. He was suspended indefinitely for a violation of team rules over at LSU and then transferred to the Plains at Auburn. As he rockets one foul to keep the count 0-2. Did I get my Alabama terminology?
You got it. Down on
Transferred
the Plains.
to the Plains.
Yep, down on the Plains, of Alabama fans would call it. Some University of Alabama fans would call it the barn.
The 0-2 is outside.
A little more of a derogatory.
The barn.
The barn.
Where's that come from?
The barn. Bama and Auburn have 2 different rivalry nicknames for each other. The barn for Auburn, you're a Barner, and you're a Bammer if you're an Alabama fan.
Okay, here's the 1-2 to the Barner. Swung on and tapped over to the second baseman, Corey Wood. He picks it up on a 2-hop, fires to Bierman for out number 2. Already 3 ground outs for the Anglers. They come in 6th in batting. Again, 1st in home runs. They've packed a lot of punch with 18 this season. 5 of them came from Spencer Torkelson, their big slugger out of Arizona State. He was the national home run leader with 25 his freshman season down in Tempe. He's gone off the Cape for the time being, playing with Team USA. But still, Chatham has picked up the slack in the power department. And here's another guy with a home run, Drew Mendoza. Just 2 for 19 on the season, but one of those taken out of the park. He's got an 0-1 count. Now works it to 1-1 by taking a pitch outside. So Drew Mendoza, the DH today, he's a lefty. So lefty-lefty matchup now as Veneziano sets, kicks, and fires way high and tight. Everyone ducks out of the way, and it's ball 2. A new battery combination today. Eric Jones gets the nod at catcher for the second time this season. As Veneziano sets for the 2-1, it's a rocket to the shortstop, Salvatore, going the other way, throws across his body, but it's short. It gets past Bierman and rolls all the way to the Chatham dugout. Mendoza didn't seem to realize, and he stays pat at first. And he reaches on maybe an infield single, maybe an error.
They're giving it a hit.
It is a hit. There it goes. A tough play for Salvatore. It wasn't necessarily a bad throw, but he was running in the opposite direction, had to make that kind of Derek Jeter throw across his body, and it just fell a little bit short.
That ball was running out of gas before it got to home or first base, and Bierman could have easily had a play on it. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get a glove to it in a clean fashion, and it got off his glove.
Here's Jake Taylor now, catcher out of Oklahoma State. First pitch from Veneziano, fastball at his ankles for ball 1. Bierman holding on the runner at first. Other than that, normal depth for the infield. The third baseman, Ryan Reynolds, playing back more than we're used to with Eric Jones, who catches ball 2 at the dirt. So Jones' second start at catcher this season. The first was the fourth game of the year, check that, against Orleans. Luke Chevalier was the starting pitcher that day. So new battery between Veneziano and Jones. It's a 2-0 count. Veneziano checks on the runner, throw to first, and it's an out. Drew Mendoza caught creeping over to second. Zach Bierman applies the tag, and Veneziano gets out of the inning unscathed. Still no score through 1.5 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park. Home half back here at Lowell Park between the Kettleers and the Anglers. Second between the Kettleers and the Anglers. Second matchup of the season between these two teams. Second matchup of the season between these two teams. The Kettleers in a Sunday doubleheader a week ago today. In a Sunday doubleheader a week ago today. Field on the Lower Cape. The second Veterans Field on the Lower Cape. The second game had no score through two. The legendary Chatham fog. We were told the legendary Chatham fog. Chatham fog would come in, and next thing you know, we look up. Fog would come in, and next thing you know, we look up, and that game will be rescheduled for July. That game will be rescheduled for July 23rd.
And apparently the fog that we witnessed on last Sunday was tame for Chatham standards.
Right.
Which I thought was funny and interesting. They've seen it a bazillion times, and that's one of the things they have to deal with. And sometimes those games go in a tie because of that fog, which is something that good for the Kettleers have not had to deal with. We've got a clean record, wins and losses only. Would love to keep it that way.
The Kettleers right now are one of just 3 teams on the Cape without a tie, all in the West: Wareham, Cotuit, and Falmouth. Alec Manoa, the Mountaineer, back on to work, and Bo Brundage sends the first pitch he sees a mile high in the air in the infield on the left side, where it's caught by the third baseman Jorge Arenas for out number 1. Brundage came into this one red hot, .317 batting average, hits in 9 of his 11 games. Stroking at almost 400 over his last 10 games, but he heads back to the dugout with a quick pop out. And here was most of the offense yesterday for the Kettleers came from Corey Wood. 3 singles, all to the same spot, right between first base and second base. He was 3 for 4, and he digs in to face Manoa here. Manoa comes set, fires in a first pitch fastball in there for a called strike 1. Corey Wood taking the first pitch, as he often does. Manoa comes set, holding the glove. Manoa comes set, holding the glove. Ball in his glove, high near his face. He fires in another fastball, this time outside for ball 1. An interesting set motion for Manoa. Usually a pitcher will hold the ball in the glove kind of at its waist, but Manoa has it propped up in near his head as he puts the ball in that tan glove right next to his right ear. Nods the signal from Taylor, now kicks and fires, and it hooks inside, but right on the corner for strike 2.
Not only that, he pitches out of the stretch with no runners on base. Doesn't like to go out of the windup.
No one on, 1 out. No one on, 1 out. In the second inning here at Lowell Park. In the second inning here at Lowell Park. Manoa shakes off the first signal from Taylor. Nods the second one, and we're ready for the 1-2. Manoa kicks and deals. It hooks inside, and it's Corey Wood had to jump to get out of the way, and it's ball 2. So Alec Manoa out of West Virginia. We've got an all Big 12 battery here between the West Virginia Mountaineer Manoa and the Oklahoma State Cowboy and Jake Taylor. Sophomore year, he had a 4 ERA in 23 appearances. Here's the 2-2, and Corey Wood swings right through it. Strike 3, that's the second of the day for Big Alec Manoa. Now here comes one of the new Kettleers today. 3 Kettleers were activated over the last 3 days. Ryan Reynolds out of Texas, who's coming to the plate right now. Duke Ellis also out of Texas, and Brady Smith out of Florida, who's not in the starting lineup today but is listed as active. So Ryan Reynolds out of Texas. He's the starting third baseman today, wearing number 10 this season for the Kettleers. He's a lefty, 6'2", 215, out of Sugar Land, Texas. And he takes the first pitch a bit outside for ball 1. We'll tell you a bit about Ryan Reynolds. He had a team-high 16 doubles this past season down in Austin, a .247 batting average, and 4 homers. So he's got some pop, some good power into those alleys as the 1-0 comes in high at the letters for ball 2. His dad, Shane Reynolds, played baseball at Texas in the 80s, and then he went on for a successful MLB career of 13 years. He was a pitcher for the Astros and also was an All-Star back in 2000. Won over 100 games in his career. Here comes the 2-0. Again, it's high. Reynolds takes it, and that's ball 3. He's out of Ouachita Christian. That was his high school, the same high school as his dad. Also the same high school as the Duck Dynasty clan.
Yeah, that's near Monroe, Louisiana. Yeah. Bayou kid up here in Reynolds.
Reynolds digging in. Here comes the 3-0. And it's inside, a 4-pitch walk. Good take from Reynolds, and his first at-bat as a Kettleer, a successful one with a 4-pitch walk.
How about that? Ryan Reynolds, a good eye, and that's good to see. Introduced to the Kettleers today, gets a first trip down to meet Brady North down at first base, and they'll be well acquainted throughout the rest of the summer.
Ryan Reynolds, also for those of you fans of Hollywood, that is not Hollywood actor Ryan Reynolds. That is Kettleers' third baseman Ryan Reynolds. Here comes Duke Ellis now, another new Kettleer, left fielder today, also out of Texas. He's a rising junior. Here comes the first pitch to him, and he takes strike one. Ellis, 6'2", 175, a junior. He's a transfer from Panola College, transferred after his freshman season over to Texas, where he hit .289 this past season, just one home run. He's a wiry kid known as a contact hitter, and he digs in as a lefty here. Manoa sets, kicks, fires. It's high and tight. Good take from Ellis. Ball one. We're in the bottom of the second here at Lowell Park. Chatham Anglers against the Cotuit Kettleers. No score, 2 outs. 1 out, 1 man on for Duke Ellis, one of the new Kettleers. He's also wearing number 11. 1-1 the count. Manoa turns and fires to first to check on Reynolds, who's back with a slide. Ellis was taken by the Padres, the 20th round of the MLB draft, and also has some MLB heritage in his family, like his Texas teammate Ryan Reynolds. His dad, Robert Ellis, played 4 seasons in the majors. As the 1-1 comes in, he swings through it for strike 2, and he was a part of that 2001 Diamondbacks World Series squad with Luis Gonzalez with the walk-off. It was a walk-off walk, right?
No, it was the flare. The flare into left center field.
Yeah.
Yep. That would have been a fun
with
team to win a World Series with. Just the way they won it.
Here comes the 1-2 to Ellis. High and tight, but it's on the corner for strike 3. So Ellis goes back to the dugout. Alec Manoa gives up just a walk, but that's it. And it's still no score through 2 here at Lowell Park. It's the Anglers and the Kettleers. We'll be back with more here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Top of the 3rd inning here at Lowell Park in a 0-0 ball game between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Chatham A's, and maybe not for long as Jake Taylor hits one high in the air to deep left center field. Bo Brundage able to run over and make the catch near the fence. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. So a long ball there from Taylor. It stays in the yard, and once again Anthony Veneziano on the mound, retiring the first batter that he faces. And now it will be the number 8 batter, Brandon Fryman, the shortstop out of the red, white, and blue of Sanford U down in Birmingham, Alabama. First pitch to him is a strike on the outside corner from Veneziano. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief. Happy to have you with us here at Lowell Park today as Fryman hits one foul on the right side, just a little looper that Zach Bierman tried to give chase, and he's down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Kettleers 8-8 on the season, facing off against the Chatham A's, who are a half game back of first place in a crowded Eastern Division, led by YD, who had a 9-6-2 in record. Kettleers trying to bounce back after a loss against YD yesterday. The 0-2, swing and a miss. Veneziano sits down Fryman. He got him on 3 pitches there, and Vinny's got his second punch out of the day.
Veneziano looks really good early. I mean, this is already shaping up to be his best start of the season. Looks really confident. He's working well with his new battery mate, Eric Jones. And against a good Chatham offense, he's mowing right through him.
Number 9 batter will step in. It's Jorge Arenas, third baseman out of Stetson University. Takes the ball off the plate. The 1-0, hammered back foul into the fence, and Veneziano working quickly, evening up the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs in the top of 3 and nobody on base for Chatham. No score as Cotuit's Coastal Carolina southpaw Anthony Veneziano making his second start of the year. 1-1 is a breaking pitch that doesn't get down in the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike. The 2-1, line straight back into the fence foul, and that'll level things up. 2-2 the count on Arenas, who's just 3 for 24 on the campaign, a 125 batting average. If you do your fractions, that simplifies to 1 hit every 8 at-bats.
Math whiz, Sam Niederman.
There you go. The 2-2 from Vinny, that's blocked in the dirt by Eric Jones, who's the new battery mate today, and the count runs full.
Something I'm noticing is Veneziano shaking off a lot of the signals from Eric Jones.
Here's the payoff pitch. This one looped in the air, maybe playable on the right side of the infield. It is for Zach Bierman, who'll make the catch in foul territory. And another 1-2-3 inning for Anthony Veneziano. Middle of the 3rd inning, scoreless ball game between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Chatham A's. We'll be back with the Kets at the plate when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 3rd inning, and the Kettleers coming to the plate in a 0-0 ball game against the Chatham A's here at home. 8-9-1 due up for the Kets in this new look lineup for Mike Roberts. It's Mike Salvatore, followed by Eric Jones, and then back to the leadoff hitter in Will Robertson. They'll all get a crack at Alec Manoa, the big right-hander out of West Virginia, who's worked 2 scoreless frames to start this ball game, only allowing 1 hit and 1 walk. Ryan Reynolds walk, not Shane Reynolds, that's his father, back in the last inning. Manoa, the big righty, will come set out of the stretch to face Mike Salvatore. It's a first pitch strike right down the middle at 94 miles an hour. Salvatore out of Florida State getting the start at short today. Right-handed batter. Here's the 0-1 to him. Grounded on the right side to the second baseman, Woolley, and he'll throw on to first, and that's number 1 out of the inning.
A lot of quick outs. I think the top of the 3rd was about 4 minutes long. And then here this one shaping up to be a similar type of inning after that first ground ball. And now we'll see if Eric Jones can finally get to Manoa, who looks really solid. He's hitting the spots well. Our home plate umpire, Mark Delaney, definitely has a wide strike zone, so that's moving the game along nicely.
Here's Eric Jones, 1 out and nobody on here in the bottom of 3. First pitch from Manoa runs way up and in on a slider, 1-0. Jones dropping down to the 9-hole today, getting the call at catcher. Makes way for Ryan Reynolds, who starts at 3rd base. The The 1-0 offering from Manoah. Big swing and a miss from Jones, who was chasing some high cheese. A fastball way upstairs in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Manoah can pump it at 96 on that last pitch. He's 6'6", listed at 260 pounds. Big fella, and he does not wind up. Out of the stretch here with nobody on and 1 out. Comes set. Here's his 1-1 to Jones. Lined right out of the box by Jones and speared out by Manoah on the mound. An L1 for the second out of the inning. That one was destined to go into center field. Instead, Manoah flashes the leather out there and makes the catch right on a line, robbing Jones of a base hit.
My goodness. Made that one look a little too easy, and then kind of gave this look of like, yeah, I just did that. I mean, he didn't even extend his arm out at all. It was literally right back to him. All he had to do was flick his wrist a little bit, and he grabbed it.
The first pitch to Will Robertson is a good slider on the outside corner for strike 1. Allowed out number 2 as Eric Jones sent a bullet right up the box, but Manoah catches it in his tan mitt for out number 2. He's got no 1 count here on Robertson. Fouls off a fastball. No balls and 2 strikes.
So now second time around for Manoah. Clearly the first time around the order was a success. See if the Kettleers can notice some tendencies, as this is the second time this season they've gotten a look at him.
An 0-2 count to Robertson with 2 outs here in the inning. And a swing and a miss. Got him on a slider as he fanned right through it, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for Manoah. So we end the third, still scoreless between Cotuit and Chatham. We'll be back with the 4th inning of play. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
You gotta unmute me. Am I plugged in? Oh, yeah, no. I'm saying I can't hear you guys in here.
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Just keep an ear open.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, are we ready, Bailey? Welcome back to Lowell Park. 4th inning of play about to begin. Anthony Veneziano out on the mound, holding the Chatham A's scoreless for the Kettleers. And with more on that, let's bring in the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, Mason Horodisky. Mason?
Sam, thanks for having me. Glad to be here up in the booth with you guys today.
Yeah, so Vinny's looking good. 3 scoreless innings, only allowing 1 hit as he winds up to face the leadoff man in the Chatham order, Greg Jones. It's a high fastball for ball 1. Veneziano, coming here as a permanent player out of Coastal Carolina, looking solid early on.
Well, solid is an understatement. I mean, we saw a glimpse of this earlier when they played Chatham in the fog-out game. He only went 1 inning there, but was able to keep it scoreless throughout. Nonetheless, Veneziano looks like he has a good grasp of this Chatham offense right now.
2-1 count to Jones as he grounds 1 to short. A sharp hop to Salvatore. He'll make the play and throw on to Bierman for out number 1. Veneziano getting another ground ball out there to retire the leadoff man in Jones. And Veneziano, his behavior, you've seen it in the dugout. He's always up and ready. Mike Roberts likes that.
Oh, yeah. I was standing next to him yesterday at the game over in YD, and there was one voice I heard the entire game cheering on his teammates, no matter how much they were down, no matter how much they felt out of it, and that was over with Veneziano.
How about that?
Always cheering on his teammates, always positive. Coach Roberts is a big energy guy. He told me that yesterday. As long as you can keep a good energy constant throughout the game, you're going to win games like that.
Glue guy, right? You need
yes.
those.
Glue guy indeed, as he hits a 1-0 pop-up from Colin Simpson here on the left side of the infield. This will be Salvatore again. He makes a 2-handed catch for out number 2. So Anthony Veneziano cooking along, an energy guy with a good team attitude. There you have it. Mason Horodisky joining our broadcast, and We'll hear from him throughout the season. Of course, you can check out his video recaps on YouTube at the Cotuit Kettleers YouTube account. Special thanks to Mason for coming on as we continue here in the top of this 4th inning. 2 outs and nobody on, and the number 3 batter in the Chatham order, Tristan English, at the dish as he fouls off a first pitch, off-speed pitch from Veneziano, an 0-1 count. Anthony Veneziano is 6'6" left-hander, battling with a 6'6" right-hander in Alec Manoa, who's been with him every step of the way for Chatham. Curveball that doesn't bend into the zone there. It's 1 ball and 1 strike on Tristan English. First baseman out of Georgia Tech, who's 0 for 1 today, flew out to center field his first time up. The 1-1, chopped on the ground, over towards third base, picked by Reynolds, high throw to first, in time, good snag by Bierman, and another 1-2-3 inning for Anthony Veneziano. Walk in with a strut over to the Cotuit dugout on the third base side as we're in the middle of the 4th inning. Kettleers still locked in a 0-0 ball game with the Chatham A's. We'll be right back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Bottom of the 4th inning here, and the Kettleers will send their heart of the order up to the plate. Bierman, Tolia, and then Brundage to face Alec Manoa in a 0-0 ball game. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief and our entire Kettleers media team, wherever you may be listening or watching, joining us on the Cotuit Broadcasting Network on Mixler.com, on YouTube streaming live, or if you're in the Cape Cod area, watching on Comcast Channel 99. So happy to have you with us. Sam, Anthony Veneziano looking strong early on for the Kettleers, only allowing 1 hit and no runs through 4 frames. Alec Manoa has matched him so far, working into his 4th inning as he faces Zach Bierman to lead things off. Bierman first pitch swinging as he fouls one up in the air towards the parking lot, and he's down in the count 0-1. Bierman 0 for 1 today, struck out swinging as the second batter of this ball game. Big power hitter against a big power arm in Manoa, who shakes off Jake Taylor and now will come set at the shoulders. The 0-2 slider catches the inside part of the plate. It's a called strike from Mark Delaney behind the dish, and an 0-2 hole now for Bierman. 0-0 the score here in the bottom of 4. Infield is straight up for Chatham. Outfield playing slightly in for the A's as a fastball runs high and outside.
Are you playing in for Zach Bierman?
Yeah, a little interesting to see Greg Jones out in center field, shaded over towards the left center gap a little bit, but a little more in than normal. Manoa comes set. Here's his 1-2 to Bierman. He rips it off into the parking lot once again, 1-2.
And that's especially strange given that last time the Kettleers played the Anglers, Zach Bierman hit a moonshot solo home run to straightaway right field. So to play in and to the left, maybe a little counterintuitive, but I'm not a baseball coach.
The 1-2, Bierman checks his swing. He strikes out as he almost went around, but a called strike anyway. Jake Taylor frames a good slider on the outside corner, and Bierman sits down on strikes for the second time today, and there's 1 out here in the bottom of 4.
So while Veneziano is doing it with the ground out, he's forced 5 ground outs so far. Manoa's doing it with the strikeout. That's his 5th strikeout as he continues to churn through this Kettleer lineup. The only base runner today has been Ryan Reynolds with the walk.
Here's Michael Tolia, 1 out and nobody aboard. First pitch from Manoah, cued in the air, shallow right field, and it'll be taken by Wholey at second base. He tracked back beyond the infield to make that catch about 3 steps into the grass. And that's the second out of the inning. So Tolia, 1 pitch and 1 out, and Alek Manoah continues to cook along. Sunny day here at Lowell Park, a Sunday that is steaming. It is in the high 80s here on Cape Cod.
Welcome to July, right?
Yeah, welcome to July. We were in the car on the way from Boston yesterday and saw the external temperature hit 90. It was 90 yesterday, and we're nearly scraping it here. Not a cloud in the sky overhead as Bo Brundage will dig in and take a fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. Lots of fans on hand here at Lowell Park, a packed third base grandstand. A little more sparse on the first base side. Want to get out of that sun, the third base grandstand, with their backs towards the sun. Brundage pops one up foul on the left side, and this one will nearly make its way into that grandstand. It hits the front deck. What a beautiful grandstand that is. Rustic wood look, very spacious, very comfy as well. With a wooden grandstand, you would think there might be some discomfort, but those are some good seats to watch a baseball game from.
It really is. Pretty to look at, too. A lot of different colors. Very colorful smattering of people out there. And American flags, of course, right in front. 4th of July weekend.
The 2-strike pitch from Manoah. Swing and a miss from Brundage. Unable to catch up with a high fastball. And Alek Manoah registers his 6th strikeout of the game to retire the side here in the bottom of the 4th. We've got a pitching duel here at Lowell Park. Scoreless between the A's and the Kettleers. When we return, Sam Brief back on the play-by-play for the 5th inning here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back here at Lowell Park, it's been a pitcher's duel and then some. 6-1-2-3 innings so far between Alek Manoah, the starter for the Chatham Anglers, and Anthony Veneziano, the starter for the Kettleers. Manoah has 6 strikeouts, has given up no hits through 4 innings, just 1 walk to Ryan Reynolds. Veneziano has given up just 1 hit, no runs for either side. It's 0-0 here in the top of the 5th, and Adam Fogel will lead things off, followed by Rankin Wholey and Drew Mendoza. First pitch is taken high in the air in the infield. Ranging in to make the play is the third baseman Ryan Reynolds for a very quick out number 1. All right, folks, it's the 5th inning, which means it's trivia time here on our broadcast. So here's our question today. The Kettleers hold the Cape Cod Baseball League record for the best winning percentage in a single season. That mark was set by the 1964 Kettleers that ended up beating Chatham in the championship game. So the question is, how many games did the Kettleers lose that season? Is it A, 0, B, 3, C, 8, or D, 10? An 0-1 count right now to Rankin Wholey, and he sends another infield fly. And again, to the third baseman, Ryan Reynolds. He reaches up and makes the easy can of corn catch for out number 2. So there's our question. You can head over to @Cotuit Kettleers on Twitter. You can answer on the Twitter poll there. Later on in the ballgame, they'll give you the answer. Again, how many games did the Kettleers lose in 1964 when they set the mark for best winning percentage? They also beat Chatham, our opponent today, in the championship game. 0, 3, 8, or 10. Either way, it's a pretty impressive season.
Yeah, that's awesome. With those numbers, all those options, I mean, you can only imagine. Sitting here trying to figure out which one I should go with. The 0 seems too beyond belief. 3, that's also beyond belief too, but you wonder, was it always a 44-game season? 10 seems like it's too much. I don't want to meet in the middle, but you know what? I'm going to stick my nose out. I'm guessing 3 losses is
3,
the
okay.
That's my guess.
3 is Sam's guess. Here's the 0-2 to Mendoza. It's in the dirt for a 1-2 count. So 3 is Sam's guess. Tell us your guess over on Twitter at Cotuit Kettleers. Veneziano right now is just 1 strike away from getting his 4th 1-2-3 inning, 3rd in a row. He's facing off against Mendoza, who has the only hit of the ball game. Here's the 1-2. High at the letters for a 2-2 count. Mendoza hit a single back in the 2nd, but then he was picked off just about a minute later on a nice relay from Veneziano over to his Coastal Carolina teammate, Zach Bierman. Here's the 2-2. It's inside. Mendoza gets out of the way, and the count runs full. A lot of Coastal Carolina Chanticleers in the infield. You've got Veneziano on the bump, Corey Wood over at 2nd, and then Bierman at 1st. It's a full count to Mendoza, 2 outs, top of the 5th. Scoreless game between the Kets and the Anglers. Time called by Mark Delaney behind the plate. Let me take a quick pause. Now we're ready. Here's the payoff pitch. Breaking ball, high and tight. Ball 4, and Mendoza, for the 2nd time today, reaches first.
Must be something about Mendoza. Came into today with only a 105 batting average. He got that single earlier in the game, and now he walks against Veneziano. That wasn't a bad-looking breaking pitch, just didn't quite catch the corner, according to Mark Delaney behind the plate. And now Anthony Veneziano will go into the stretch. And, of course, the last time that we had this situation with Mendoza on first base, he picked him off. A beautiful move from the lefty. We'll see if he can control the run game here.
And that was a really nice pickoff move. It's Jake Taylor out of Oklahoma State at the plate. And here's the first pitch to him. Fastball on the inside corner, called strike 1. So it's Mendoza at first. He has 2 first base appearances today, leading out the Mendoza line. It's an 0-1 count right now to Jake Taylor. And now an 0-2 count as strike 2 comes in, a called breaking pitch right down the middle. We're on the top of the 5th, a hot summer day on this July 1st. Happy July, happy summer. Veneziano shakes off the first signal, likes the second one better from Eric Jones. Now here's the 0-2. It's inside, backing up Taylor a bit, and the count runs to 1-2. Some 4th of July festivities planned here at Lowell Park. On Wednesday, we'll have the hitting contest, emceed by yours truly, alongside yours other truly, right next to me. Here's the 1-2, swung on and hammered out into center. Brundage ranging back, looks like he's got it, and indeed he does, as it falls into his glove for out number 3. So not a 1-2-3 inning this time, but still Anthony Veneziano gets out of the inning without a scratch, and still no score halfway home here at Lowell Park. We'll be back with more Kettleer baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park, and the good news for Cotuit in this scoreless tie between the Kettleers and the Anglers is that Alec Manoah, who had a little no-hitter running through 4 innings, has been pulled from the game, probably due to some pitching limit put on by a college coach. But Manoah exits 4 innings, no hits, No runs, just 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. He was dominant. And now for the second time this season, the Kettleers get a look at Spencer Van Scoy, a lefty out of Arizona State. He's 6'4", 205, a junior who has appeared 3 times this season, just 1 start. That was back on June 24th against these same Kettleers. He went 4 innings, gave up 1 run on 1 hit, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. He'll face Corey Wood first, and it's a fastball outside for ball 1. In this inning, Corey Wood, Ryan Reynolds, Duke Ellis. So certainly good news to see Manoah out of the game.
Yeah, and interesting to see Van Scoy, the one pitcher that the Kettleers got the look at last Sunday. Tom Holliday going with 2 of his better arms in his rotation and trusting them against this Kettleers lineup. And like you just rattled off, Sam, it's not like Van Scoy was hammered around too hard in that Sunday win at Veterans Field when Cotuit saw him for the first time.
He's got a 1-2 count on Wood right now, an 0-1 record on the season, 3.85 ERA, 8 Ks, 4 free passes. And he's got the 1-2 count. Here comes the tall lefty who pitches to Wood, who sends a breaking ball chopped foul down the first base line as it rolls into the grass. A beautiful summer day on this July 1st. July 4th, right around the corner. There's 2 American flags held on by bricks on top of the Kettleer dugout as ball 2 comes in high and tight to Wood. Also some nice semicircle pleated American flags in the outfield. Those same half-circle flags that go in MLB ballparks on opening day. Here comes the 2-2 to Wood. It's fouled off. Opening day, postseason, they put those flags out there. Very festive feel. Kind of hope they stay out the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be an all-American summer from here on out. Can't wait to see the Cotuit 4th of July Festival.
Here's the 2-2, fouled straight back as it ricochets off a pull on the backstop and rolls right back to Van Scoy. He says, you know what, this ball's fine, I'll hang on to it. But then Jake Taylor says, nah, you know, Spencer, I'll give you a new one. Tosses him a fresh baseball supplied by Mark Delaney, and we'll do it again with the 2-2 count.
And then Delaney tosses it over to the Cotuit bat boys saying, you know what, I don't even want to see this one anymore.
This ball is trash.
Yeah.
Here comes the 2-2 to Wood. It's a little low for ball 3. The count runs full. So what a pitcher's duel it's been in this game. Alek Manoah and Anthony Veneziano, the starters. No runs, just 1 hit between the 2 in this game. Now here's the full count pitch from Van Scoy. Kettleers on the base path. Salvatore is still a relatively new Kettleer, and he has been late last week. In his first 12 at-bats, he's gotten a hit in half 12 at-bats. He's gotten a hit in half of them. And he's got 2 runners on. It's Reynolds at second, Ellis at first. It's Reynolds at second, Ellis at bottom 5. 1 out. Skoy comes set. Here's the pitch. Ben trails low and inside for ball 1. It trails low and inside for ball 1. So hook 'em horns. Pair of Texas Longhorn teammates on the base pass. Texas Longhorn teammates on the base strike first here at Lowell Park. The Kettleers look to strike first here at Lowell Park. And Mike Salvatore, the Florida State Seminole, Ben Skoy looks back a couple times at Reynolds, who's got the lead. Now pitches to Salvatore, who's got the lead. And it's a fastball outside. Salvatore sitting pretty. Salvatore sitting pretty with a 2-0 count. So far a nice debut for the 2 Longhorns. So far a nice debut for the 2 Longhorns. Salvatore down in his starting debut, down in the game-winning run, also drove in a run. Scored the game-winning run, also drove in a run. Here comes the 2-0 pitch, swung on and roped out into right field, coming over as Adam Fogel, he makes the catch. Coming over as Adam Fogel, he makes the catch. Ryan Reynolds gets the throw, and it's cut off by Brandon Fryman, and it's cut off by Brandon Fryman without a tag. Reynolds slides into the third without a tag, on the corners, and now the Kettleers have runners on the corners with Eric Jones stepping up.
This is what fundamental hitting on offense. Hitting the ball into the outfield, hitting the ball into the outfield, getting contact hits with 1 out in that inning, it makes it a second out. With 1 out in that inning, it makes it a second out, and that always get the runner from second to third, and that always makes a big difference.
So here's number 17, Eric Jones. Starting catcher today for Cotuit. Starting catcher today for Cotuit. 2 outs. Runners on the corner. 2 outs. Here comes the first pitch from Van Skoy. Here comes the first pitch from Van Skoy. It's taken outside for ball 1. Second time this season, the Kettleers get a look at Van Skoy. Last time the Kettleers get a look at Van Skoy. Was a week ago Sunday. 4 innings for Van Skoy. 4 innings for Van Skoy, just 1 hit.
Of course, that hit came from the man at the plate right now. Second
pitch inside for ball 2. That was an RBI single to drive in the leadoff man, Will Robertson. To drive in the leadoff man, Will Robertson. 7-game hit streak for Eric Jones. 7-game hit streak for Eric Jones. He's still been one of the most consistent Kettleers. He's still been one of the most consistent. He calls time. From the dish, he calls time. To catch his breath, take a practice swing. He's got that same routine he always swing. He's got that same routine he always does. Steps out for a practice swing, adjust those white Under Armour batting gloves, kind of tip his helmet, and then step back in. He's got a 2-0 count. Here's the pitch. He takes a hack and sends it foul into the green trees off to the right side. A 2-1 count. Beautiful day at Lowell Park. A little hot for my taste, but still a beautiful day. About 85 degrees. The sun is shining, no clouds in the sky. Just a few shadows casting onto the left side of the field and also the perimeter of the left field fence. Eric Jones is ready, but first Van Skoy checks on Ellis, who tiptoes back to first. Still a 2-1 count. Some fans out beyond the outfield fence in the shade in left field, sitting on the lawn chairs, leaning up against the outfield fence. Sometimes see some dogs walking around there, kids playing catch. Definitely a family feel here at Lowell Park. 2-1 the count. Here's the pitch to Jones. High looping breaking ball that's way outside. Taken by Jones for ball 3. Cotuit with their first chance to strike here in the bottom of the 5th. Ryan Reynolds got aboard with 1 out, a single poked opposite field to right, and then his Texas teammate Duke Ellis doing the same. Runners on the corners. Here's the 3-1. It's high, ball 4. Jones takes first base, and the base is loaded for Will Robertson.
Good job by Eric Jones, laying off a lot of bad pitches there. His first at-bat, he swung on a couple out of the zone. He makes an adjustment there, working the 5-pitch walk on Van Skoy. And now Will Robertson, who's due for a big hit. He's come back off of the injury, due for a bust-the-game-open kind of hit right here with the bases juiced.
Ducks are on the pond. 2 outs, bottom 5. Scoreless tie. First pitch to Robertson, sent foul over the grandstand on the left side. It's an 0-1 count. Ryan Reynolds over at third, Duke Ellis at second, and Eric Jones is at first. At the dish, Will Robertson looking to deliver and give the Kettleers their first lead of the ball game. Van Skoy gazing in, getting the signal from his battery mate, Jake Taylor. Robertson in his open stance, anxiously awaiting the pitch. Here's the 0-1, taken by Robertson and sent out into right field, a base hit. Here comes Reynolds, has already scored. The throw to Ellis. Not in time. He slides in safe, and the Kettleers plate 2 runs. They lead it 2-0.
There you go. Will Robertson coming through. Big base knock for the Kettleers there. You have to score in that situation. This team needed a big pick-me-up like that, and a rip from Will Robertson. Both the Texas Longhorns coming to score. Reynolds and then Ellis sliding in to beat out the throw. Awkward kind of cutoff from Chatham there. I thought that throw might have had a chance to get Ellis. Thankfully for the Kettleers, Ellis able to slide in. Jake Taylor close on the tag, but a good play by Robertson at the plate and a 2-0 Ketts lead.
So Will Robertson strikes, delivers a 2 RBI single. Just a little frozen rope out into right. The Kettleers in business, 2-0 over the A's, or the Anglers. I'm living back in the pre-2009 era when they were the Chatham A's. But a 2-0 lead regardless. Runners on the corners. First pitch to Zach Bierman, high and tight for ball 1. So Eric Jones at third, Will Robertson at first. Finally, some life for the Kettleer offense. All it took was getting Alec Manoah out of the game. Van Scoy comes set. He kicks and fires to Bierman. Again, high and inside. This time, ball 2. Bierman 0 for 2 today. Yesterday was the only player in the top 4 hitters in the lineup with a hit. He's awaiting the 2-0. Here it comes. Swung on, a little dribbler that rolls out into right field. That's going to plate another Kettleer run. Here comes Eric Jones to score, and the Kettleers take a 3-0 lead.
Bierman places it where there weren't any defenders there with the first baseman English holding on Robertson. That allowed that ball to trickle all the way into right field. Man on third, no problem. We'll take that extra run, 3-0.
And how about the job of Will Robertson to kind of tiptoe around the ball? It was rolling at his feet. Had it hit him, would have been runner's interference that would have ended the inning on an out. We saw that happen earlier this season with the guy at the plate, Michael Tolia, sending a ground ball that hit the knees of Eric Jones. That time, good execution. It's 3-0 Kettleers. Runners on first and second. Ball 1 comes into Michael Tolia. 3 runs on 4 hits in this very inning for the Kettleers. The newcomers, Ryan Reynolds and Duke Ellis, got it started. And now it's Robertson and Bierman on the base paths. Here comes the second pitch to Tolia, taken for a strike on the outside corner. Michael Tolia, the switch-hitting outfielder out of UCLA. Now 3 switch hitters in the Kettleer lineup. What we'll see for the rest of the season when Thomas Dillard comes back from the Home Run Derby in Omaha. As Tolia takes ball 2 outside. Ryan Reynolds a switch hitter, Michael Tolia a switch hitter, so is Dillard. You can watch him tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, the College Home Run Derby out in Omaha. Dillard, one of 6 college players selected, and we'll certainly be rooting for him.
Yeah, good to see Dilly and that competition. Certainly a worthy candidate, and hopefully he could slug a few and then come back to Cotuit ASAP.
Here comes the 2-1 to Tolia, taken for strike 2. This time a fastball right down Broadway. That runs to 2-2. Yeah, we'll be watching. Dillard, a switch hitter, said he'll be batting lefty for the Home Run Derby. That's his natural side of the plate. Tolia batting righty right now against the southpaw Van Scoy. 3-0 Kettleers. They strike first in the 5th. Still 2 runners on. They have their leads. Now here's the pitch. Breaking ball loops into the zone. A called strike 3. But the Kettleers strike first. The Texas boys get us started. Robertson and Bierman clean it up. And it's 3-0 Ketts entering the top of the 6th right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back at it here in Lowell Park, the top of the 6th inning, and Cotuit takes a 3-0 lead over the Chatham A's. 3 runs on 4 hits in that last inning. sparked by the new additions of Ryan Reynolds and Duke Ellis. RBI hits from Zach Bierman and Will Robertson, and the Kettleers taking a 3-0 advantage over the Chatham A's into this 6th inning. Anthony Veneziano gets the run support he was looking for. He'll be back on the mound to work his 6th frame, only allowing 1 hit and no runs so far. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief, happy to have you with us on this Sunday, July the 1st. Get to the trivia right now because, of course, with that big inning, we had to kind of skip over it. The question was, the Kettleers hold the Cape Cod Baseball League record for the best winning percentage in Cape League history, backed with the 1964 squad that ended up beating the Chatham A's in the championship. How many games did that 1964 Kettleers team lose that season? That's the question, as Anthony Veneziano deals in a strike to even up the count. 1-1 on Brandon Fryman to start this inning. Was it A, 0 games, B, 3, C, 8, or D, 10, as Fryman rips a base hit up into center field, and Chatham with their leadoff man aboard here with nobody out in the top of the 6th.
So, Sam, you guessed 3.
I guessed 3.
48% of our voters on Twitter also guessed 3. That was the most popular answer. And that was also the correct answer.
Whoa!
Just 3 losses that season for the Kettleers. They finished with a .916 winning percentage, 33-3.
Wow. Here's Jorge Arenas, who fights one off foul on the right side. Number 9 batter in the Chatham order with the man on first and nobody out. 33-3. That tells me that the Cape League competition must have been really bad that year. Or the Kettleers were just that good. Veneziano out of the stretch, pitches casted into the left side of the infield, and that will get through to left field for a base knock. So 2 consecutive base hits here for Chatham. Their 8 and 9 hitters starting things off nicely. Runners on first and second with nobody out for the top of the order, and Greg Jones will come to the plate for the A's.
So when I was Googling around looking at this 1964 season, I found that the Kettleers actually held a retro night at Lowell Park back in 2015 to celebrate the 1964 teams. They had trivia about historic moments from that year, vendors in the stands dressed up like they were from the 60s, music from the 60s, celebrating that 33-win season that all was capped off by a championship over Chatham.
Pretty crazy. There's your Kettleers trivia for the day. The 1964 team, the best winning percentage in Cape League history, 33-3. Wow. Now Greg Jones, the batter for the Chatham A's. Top of the 6th inning. 2 base hits in a row for Chatham. They've got runners on first and second with nobody out. Anthony Veneziano on the mound out of the stretch. Facing Jones, who bats from the right side out of UNC Wilmington. The lanky Veneziano comes set. His first pitch lifted in the air, tailing out on the right side, foul. Kettleers score 3 in the bottom of the 5th. 2 RBI single from Will Robertson and an RBI single from Zach Bierman, giving the Kettleers the first runs of the day. Starter Anthony Veneziano trying to preserve that lead. A force at any base. Middle infielders Mike Salvatore and Corey Wood going back and forth to communicate. The 0-1 from Veneziano, good breaking pitch that catches the zone for strike 2.
So first time today, Veneziano has to deal with some adversity. We'll see if Anthony's up to the task. He's given us no reason to believe otherwise with the gems so far today.
The big left-hander comes set. Here's his 0-2. Jones taps it on the left side. It'll go foul. Just staying alive. A good curveball from Vinny that time. Greg Jones, a leadoff man. 0 for 2 today with a strikeout his first time. Grounded to short the last time. Kettleers will look for another ground ball from Veneziano, who has produced a bevy of them today. He's got 5 ground ball outs. Looking for his first out of this inning here. The 0-2 again. Grounded to shortstop. Right towards Salvatore. Underhand to Wood at second. Down to first, but not in time, as the speedy Jones will leg out to keep the double play out of play. The runner from second will move up in the form of Fryman. He goes to third. Jones save at first. The runner at second called out. That was Arenas. So a 6-4 fielder's choice. And runners on the corners with 1 out. And now Jerry Weinstein's going to come out to the hill. Pitching coach for Cotuit. And it looks like he's going to go to his bullpen. That will be it for Anthony Veneziano for a Sunday start. He goes 5 1/3 innings. allowing no runs yet. He's responsible for the runners on first and third. And the man that'll look to keep it that way, we'll get you the name of the new pitcher when we come back after this break here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Deacon Metters introducing himself there on our broadcast, and he introduces himself into this ball game, coming in with one out in the top of the sixth inning. The Kettleers holding a 3-zip advantage over the Chatham A's. Anthony Veneziano, his day is done. He goes 5 1/3 innings, allowing 3 hits, walking 1 batter, and striking out 2. Has not allowed any runs, although he's responsible for the runners on first and third in this situation. He gets yanked from the ball game as Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, took the ball, and he'll give it to Deacon Metters, the big right-hander out of the University of Alabama. He comes on, runners on first and third, 1 out in the inning, facing the heart of the Chatham order. It'll be Colin Simpson, number 2 batter, to step in, big left fielder out of Oklahoma State, and a big spot out of the bullpen for Metters, who will try and preserve the 3-run pad for the Kettleers.
I love it. This is a great spot to put in Deacon Metters. He's used to these types of situations with the Kettleers. We'll see what he brings.
Left-handed batter and Simpson, runner from first going immediately. It's Jones who got a fantastic jump, and he's able to slide into second base safely. Eric Jones behind the plate, a little late to get the ball out of there. Hesitant with the runner on third. A strike called at the plate from Metters. Immediately, Chatham activating the base pass, getting both runners in scoring position here for Simpson. Runners on second and third and 1 out after the Jones steal. 0-1 the count as Metters comes set. Here's his 0-1. Hit high in the air towards right center field. Robertson tracking in for it. He'll come in with the shades, make the catch. Now a throw home to the plate. The runner trying to tag. He will come in and score as Fryman scores on a sac fly. Now an errant throw from Eric Jones. Throwing it into left field, trying to get Greg Jones going towards third. He rounds third and comes all the way in to score. Just like that, an RBI sac fly from Colin Simpson, and then an extra run to be added as a cherry on top, and it's 3-2. Chatham getting 2 there.
It was actually Deacon Metters backing up the throw. Good job by him to be there in position, but just kind of airmailed it into left field over Ryan Reynolds' head. A good thought, actually a chance to get the runner at third if the throw was on point, just an unfortunate error.
Tristan English steps in with the bases cleared and 2 outs in the inning, and he takes a first pitch strike. So a wacky play there. Metters got the fly ball to right field where Robertson took it, threw it home to Jones. The ball kind of skipped away as 1 run scored. 0-1 to English, cut on and miss on a good slider. It's 0-2. And then Metters, who was backing up Jones behind the plate, was trying to get Greg Jones, who was running from second to third, and threw it into left field, and that allowed him to score as well. Here's the 0-2 to English. He's just able to get a piece of it on the inside, still 0-2. So Jones comes home to score. He stole second base before that, and that played a big role. 2-strike pitch to English, swing and a miss. Good breaking ball from Deacon there, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. And that'll keep the Kettleers in front. 3-2 the score in the middle of 6. We head on as the Kettleers will try and add some insurance after that inning here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. due up in this inning to face Spencer Van Scoy, the lefty out of the bullpen, on for his second frame of work. He'll wind up and deliver to Bo, who takes inside for ball 1. Chatham answers back in the top of the 6th inning with 2 runs of their own. They pulled within 1. Van Scoy's 1-0 popped up in the air towards the left side, and that'll track over the grandstand foul. 1-1 the count on Brundage. Kettleers scored 3 in the bottom of 5, Chatham 2 in the last half inning. That's our score here in the bottom of 6. 1-1 from Van Scoy, turned on the right side of the infield, straight on a couple of hops to English at first base. He'll take it to the bag himself, 1 down in the inning. Corey Wood is the next batter. 0 for 2 on the day with a strikeout. 1 out and nobody on. And the Kettleers with a 1-run lead over the Chatham A's. A Sunday ball game in which Cotuit looking to get back in the win column. They've dropped their last 2. They ran into a buzzsaw at YD last night, going down 4-1. First pitch to Corey Wood is a curveball that dips into the low part of the zone for strike 1. Van Scoy mixing it up nicely there. Kettleers lost in 10 innings against Falmouth on Friday night, a 7-6 defeat. That curveball runs in and hits Corey Wood. It did not break one bit as it got him on the front shoulder. You could hear the smack of the jersey there, and he'll go on down to first base and give the Kettleers a base runner with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th.
And now here comes the part of the order that got us going back in the 5th. Ryan Reynolds, Duke Ellis, the new boys from Texas. They got that rally going. We'll see if they can keep it going here.
It is Ryan Reynolds who will step in, batting from the right side, where he had a single the last time up. Corey Wood leading from first base and taking outside for ball 1 is Reynolds. Spencer Van Scoy on the mound, left-hander out of Arizona State University. Product of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. A 2016 19th round pick from the Toronto Blue Jays. He faces Ryan Reynolds here. A 1-0 offering. Off the plate once again with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes to Reynolds. Big power hitter out of Texas. Batted as their cleanup hitter for the majority of the 2018 season, protecting an All-American and Cody Clemens, who hit 3rd for the Longhorns. It's Corey Wood, the runner on first base. 2-0 the count. Here's the offering to Reynolds. He fouls it straight back into the fence. Reynolds, a big kid from the Bayou area, Louisiana and Texan ties. Looking down to his new coach, Mike Roberts, who will be under his guidance for the rest of the summer at third base. Signaling from the shadows as a third base coach. 2-1 count. Wood is the runner at first base. 1 out in the inning. Van Scoy, the lefty, will give a check on him. Loopy throw over there to Tristan English. We remember that from last Sunday. Kind of a John Lester tendency on that pickoff move. Very relaxed, almost tentative, you might say, as a left-hander will look in. He gets a sign from Jake Taylor. And here's the 2-1 again to Reynolds, who swings and misses through a fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kettleers leading by a run in the bottom of the 6th. Corey Wood hit by a pitch. He's down at first base with 1 out. Ryan Reynolds, new addition to the team from Texas. 2-2 from Van Scoy. Curveball locked him up. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. A beautiful bender there from Van Scoy, and that's a big second out of the inning.
Really good pitch from Van Scoy. He's a breaking ball pitcher primarily, likes to finesse it. That time certainly finessed it and fooled Reynolds.
2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th, and the Texas teammate of Reynolds, Duke Ellis, will step in. Batting from the left side, facing the lefty Van Scoy, who misses upstairs with a fastball, ball 1. Chatham outfield playing a little more in. You see the center fielder, Greg Jones, fanning himself, losing his cap trying to fan himself out there in center in the hot dead of the sun. Van Scoy out of the stretch, the 1-0. Just catches the outside corner. A good frame from Jake Taylor behind the plate to even the count at 1-1. Duke Ellis in his Kettleers debut, 1 for 2 with a single in the last inning when he scored a run. Kettleers leading 3-2 over the Chatham A's. Van Scoy comes set right at his midsection, and he'll throw once again a loopy pick to first as English has to come off the bag to get it. Not much to worry about for Corey Wood, who's the runner. Conferencing with Brady North, and now Wood will take his lead. Vanskoy comes set, a look to the plate. Here's his 1-1. Breaking pitch, catches the low part of the zone, and he's got the driver's seat on Ellis. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Duke Ellis at the plate, open batting stance for the lanky left fielder. Vanskoy comes set. Here's the 1-2. Curveball gets behind Taylor. Corey Wood off and running towards second. He'll slide in. Wild pitch from Vanskoy allows the Cotuit base runner to run into scoring position. And it'll be a 2-2 count with 2 outs to Duke Ellis.
All right, nice stuff there. And we know Ellis can poke it into either field. A very finesse-like contact hitter. Doesn't strike out a lot. We'll see if he can do the same here as he takes some practice hacks.
Ellis third on Texas this season in batting average. He hit .289. Transfer out of Panola College, shifting into the Big 12 nicely. And now into the Cape League, looking to make even more noise in his debut. Runner on second with 2 outs. The 2-2. This one's hit straight back into the piping behind home plate, and Ellis stays alive. Shadows casting out into left field and on the left side of the infield, engulfing third base where Jorge Arenas is a defensive player for Chatham. Slight shift now for the A's, right side of the infield, moving over along with the shortstop and Fryman, who's playing more towards the middle. 2-2 to Ellis, up and in with a fastball that clocks down at 99 on the Lowell Park scoreboard. That's the highest we've seen the MPH today from Vanskoy. That might have been a radar gun error. Nevertheless, a 3-ball, 2-strike count to Duke Ellis. Runner on second with 2 outs in the bottom of 6. Here's the pitch. Hit in the air on the left side. This one will find its way out of play into the grandstand. Loud thud and a ricochet as it bounced into a standing fan's hand who just smoothly tossed it down to a little kid who was there on the stair steps to make the catch. So a souvenir there. Kettleers up 3-2 on Chatham. Corey Wood on second base. Another full count sequence here to Duke Ellis. Vanskoy looking back at second. And now comes to the plate. Up and in with a fastball. He walked him. A good plate appearance from Duke Ellis there. He reaches for the second time today and extends the inning for Mike Salvatore.
Yeah, Ellis displaying some impressive patience there. Taking some pitches kind of right on the corner. Some juicy pitches to swing at. And looks like we might have a pitching change here.
The pitching coach for Chatham will come out and make a trot to the mound, and he'll point his right hand towards the bullpen. So a pitching change with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Salvatore at the plate and 2 runners on for the Kettleers. A chance to extend their lead. They lead at 3-2 over the Chatham A's. We'll have the new pitcher when we come back. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. New pitcher on for the Chatham A's here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Troy Miller, a right-hander out of the University of Michigan. He'll come on with runners on first and second and 2 outs in the inning. Kettleers threatening. It's Mike Salvatore who will be at the plate. And the Kettleers with a chance to extend their 3-2 lead. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief and our entire Kettleers media team. Happy to have you with us, whether you're listening online on Mixler.com, online at YouTube watching our live stream or in the Cape Cod area watching on Comcast. That's channel 99. Once again, if you're in Cape Cod and want to get it up on the big screen, that is Comcast, channel 99. So Dennis Cook, the Chatham pitching coach, goes to his bullpen here, relieving Spencer Van Scoy, who goes an inning and 2/3, and he's responsible for the 2 runners on base. He gave up the 3 runs that the Kettleers produced back in the 5th inning. They're looking to plate more here. The bottom of the order, the 8-hitter, and Mike Salvatore at the plate. Florida State Seminole, who is 0 for 2 today, came into this game 6 for 12. It's 6 for 14 as a running total on his 2018 season. Troy Miller out of Michigan, out of the bullpen. And he'll come set with runners on first and second with 2 outs. First pitch to Salvi is upstairs for ball 1.
Salvi.
Yeah.
I like that.
I heard Jerry Weinstein shout it out yesterday at Red Wilson Field. He said, "Come on, Salvi."
Salvi.
Yeah.
Just like Luke Chevalier's
Chevy, yep.
You got some good ones.
Goldfarb is Goldie. The 1-0 to Salvi. He swings and misses through a good breaking pitch. It's 1-1. Good pitch from Troy Miller there. The Chatham infield behind him. Middle infielders pitching close to that second base bag. 4 at any base with 2 outs and runners on first and second. Third baseman Arenas right in on the corner. The 1-1 to Salvatore. Breaking pitch in the dirt. Knocked away by Taylor, who keeps it in front. A hitter's count now for Salvatore. 2 balls and 1 strike. Eric Jones due up on the on-deck circle, and then the top of the order if they continue this inning. A 3-2 Cotuit lead here at home at Lowell Park on a Sunday. Miller comes set, standing straight up as a right-hander. The 2-1 to Salvatore, a big rip and a miss. Unable to find the high cheese there, out of the zone for 2-2.
Miller has been very solid this season, 2.25 ERA, a Big Ten guy out of Michigan. He can pump gas on the mound. He can really hurl it in there.
Nobody holding the runners on. 2 outs in the inning, a 2-2 count. Here's the pitch to Salvatore. He takes it high, and the count runs full. Corey Wood got hit by a pitch with 1 out in this inning. Ryan Reynolds struck out looking for the 2nd out, and then Duke Ellis had a good plate appearance to walk. That's how we've gotten to this point. 2 runners on. A loaded count for Salvatore with 2 outs in the bottom of 6. Troy Miller will turn back and check on Wood at second base. Nobody holding for Chatham as the infield is now back at normal depth. Miller comes set, holding the glove right at his chest. Standing straight up. Here's the pitch. Fought off by Salvatore. He fouls it straight back. Kettleers trying to extend their 1-run lead. Playing Chatham for the 2nd time officially this season. The doubleheader last Sunday, the 2nd game fogged out. That game will be made up on Monday, July the 23rd at Veterans Field. The focus is a 3-2 lead for Cotuit now. Here's a full count pitch to Salvatore. Strike 3 called. Mark Delaney rings him up emphatically behind the plate. A fastball right at the knees. And the Kettleers strand a couple of runners in the bottom of 6. Salvatore unable to bring him home. And we head to the 7th. Cotuit still leading Chatham 3-2 when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Top of the 7th inning, and it's the Cotuit Kettleers on top of the Chatham Anglers, 3-2. Deacon Metters will be back out on the mound for his first full inning of work. He came on for the last 2 outs of the 6th, relieving Anthony Veneziano, who was strong today in his second start of the campaign. His final line sounds like this. He went 5 1/3, allowing 2 runs, 1 of them earned on 3 hits, only 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Chatham A's will be sending their 4, 5, and 6 hitters to the plate. It's Adam Fogel to start things off. Actually, a pinch hitter. This is going to be Ben Ramirez, who will stand in with a red bat in place of Adam Fogel. First pitch swinging, he sends a grounder over to second base. Corey Wood ranges to his left, and he'll make the throw on to Bierman. 1 pitch and 1 out as we start the 7th, and the Kettleers leading the A's by 1.
What do we think of the red bat? Bright red goes well with the Chatham uniform, maybe? A red, white, and blue color scheme? What do you think?
It was a little alarming, honestly.
Really?
A little
like a red alert.
Yeah, I didn't care for it, and he grounded out too. So.
Are you anti-colored bats in general? Or
yeah,
just the
just
strong
go with
red?
Like a maple or a black or the neutral, whatever works. Here's another pinch hitter for Chatham with 1 out and nobody on. It's Blake Sable, big catcher who had a solo home run last night against Harwich to cap off a 4-run 7th that eventually led to the A's win. He stands in for Rankin Woley, and he'll replace the second baseman for the A's. So 2 pinch hitters to begin this inning. First it was Ramirez, now Sable. Pitch from Metters, a good called strike for strike 2 on Sable. Nice changeup there. 0-2 the count. Here's Deacon's 0-2. Runs outside with a curveball. And Sable takes. Batting from the left side. Deacon out of the windup. Pauses, and here's his 1-2. Inside with the slider there. Did not get the call from Mark Blaney. It's a pretty location, but it runs the count to 2-2. Kettleers leading 3-2 here on the top of 7. Metters 2-2, cast it into right field, and Sable has a 1-out single here in the 7th.
Nice piece of hitting by Sable there, just extending his bat across the whole zone. A nice long swing to pinch the ball into right field and to give the Anglers the chance here in the 7th.
So the USC Trojan and Sable reaches with a single. And that will give Drew Mendoza a chance, a designated hitter, left-handed batter, as Metters works out of the stretch. Infield at DP depth, and there's a first pitch ball upstairs to Mendoza. Mendoza on the day. He's reached twice, a single and a walk. Tying run is on first base. That's Blake Sable. The 1-0 to Mendoza runs outside with a fastball from Deacon. It's 2-0. The big right-hander out of Tuscaloosa will look in. Shadows across his pitching mound. Those crimson Nike cleats. He comes set, posting up that left leg. Looks in towards Eric Jones. A long look in, and now time called by the batter in Mendoza. He'll stand in the box and just readjust his batting clothes. Now he'll step back out. Comes back into the box. Mark Delaney, the home plate umpire, points to Metters and says it's on you. He's got his pitch, comes set, and now he'll step off with that back right foot to make sure that Sable is honest at first. Bierman holding on. And now time called once again. This time by the runner at first base, and that will have Mendoza step out of the box. Metters comes set. Here's a 2-0. Runner going. Swing and a miss. Eric Jones unable to get the ball out of his mitt cleanly. No throw down to second base. And Sable swipes a bag. And that has been something that Chatham has excelled at this season. Leading the league in steals, surprisingly. You would think Cotuit, with a guy like Mike Roberts, would lead in that category. The Kettleers are up there. 4th in the league with 19 stolen bases. Chatham with 25 plus on the campaign. Sable with their 2nd of the day there. 2-1 to Mendoza, swing and a miss. Good slider from Metters to even up the count, 2-2. Tying run stands at second base. It's a 3-2 ball game in favor of Cotuit here at Lowell Park. Ketts at 8-8, trying to get back above that 500 mark. Have not been at 500 since the 4th game of the season. Metters checks back, his 2-2, grounded towards Wood at second. He takes it on a high bounce. The throw to Bierman is good for out number 2. Sable will move up to third base, and a productive out there from Drew Mendoza, and Metters doing his job as well. There will be 2 outs, and Jake Taylor will come to the plate. Perhaps another pinch hitter, as nobody coming up. It looks like Ashton McGee will be pinch hitting for Jake Taylor. So Tom Holliday, the Chatham manager, pulling multiple strings late in this ball game. 3 pinch hitters out of the 4 batters that Metters has faced in this inning. Ashton McGee is the batter. Bats from the left side. First pitch from Metters is a fastball that runs in for ball 1.
McGee out of North Carolina, where Mike Roberts coached for 20-plus years.
Tar Heel against a member of the Crimson Tide. Here's the 1-0 from Metters. He misses outside with a slider. 2 balls and no strikes to McGee. Blake Sable, the runner on third base. He singled with 1 out, stole a base, and moved up on the ground out from Mendoza. 2-0 from Metters, hacked off on the left side, out of play, foul. Kettleers trying to get a win before they go on to a big 4th of July week, which will feature a road game at Falmouth to open up the slate on Monday. Metters comes set. Here's his 2-1. Got the outside corner. That's a good fastball that'll warrant an applause from the fans here at Lowell Park. 2-2 the count on McGee. A Tar Heel with those gray Carolina batting gloves, accented in the Carolina blue with some shimmering chrome on the logos. Here's a 2-2 from Deacon. Strike 3 called on the off-speed pitch. He got the corner, and Deacon Metters with a big 3rd out of the 7th inning, and the Kettleers still lead 3-2 over Chatham. Ketts come to the plate in the next inning. We'll be right back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Bottom of the 7th inning. Just finished up stretch time. Take me out to the ball game, sung here at the home of the Cotuit Kettleers, and the Cats up on the Chatham Anglers 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief, our Kettleers media team on hand as well. Mason Horodisky, our producer. Bailey Hewson, one of our production assistants. Max Curran, our video production assistant as well. Check out his vlog on YouTube. Vlog episode 2 came out today. Very well done by Max. Get a behind-the-scenes look of the Cotuit Kettleers. Everything from interns to players and game highlights. That's all right here on YouTube at the Cotuit Kettleers. So the Kets will send up 9-1-2 in this inning. Eric Jones followed by Robertson and then Zach Bierman. They'll be facing Troy Miller, the right-hander out of Michigan. A couple of defensive substitutions for Chatham. Mark Delaney, the home plate umpire, yelling him up to Roy Reese, who's in the Booth next to us, our public address announcer here in Cotuit. See if we can note those changes. A couple of them, as it looks like, can't quite tell if Blake Sable is out there or if he's in the DH spot.
So, got a couple
Sam's
of them.
got him.
I stuck my ear out to hear Mark Delaney.
Partner. Thank you.
Nick Cale out of Washington. He comes into the game at catcher. Ben Ramirez is at third. Jorge Arenas slides over to second. I'll have the outfield for you in a minute.
First pitch to Eric Jones is low for a ball from Miller. So it's Ramirez at third. Nick Cale is the catcher, and Jorge Arenas over at second base. Troy Miller out of the windup. In the shadows is 1-0. Chopped on the left side. That'll be taken by Fryman at short. Deep in the hole. He makes the throw in time as the first base umpire Rick Emerson nods yes, he got him. One out in the inning as Jones unable to reach on the 6-3 putout. So there's the defensive infield and catcher changes for Chatham. And Sam Brief, you have the outfield as well.
Blake Sable moves out to right. Greg Jones still in center. Colin Simpson in left. So shuffling up a little bit. We'll see if Holiday keeps moving around that lineup. But a totally different Chatham defense than what we saw when this game started.
Chatham trying to find a couple of new players in this game to perhaps overcome a one-run deficit as Will Robertson looks at a breaking pitch outside for ball one. Kettleers leading 3-2 here in the bottom of the seventh inning. Miller nods at the sign, and Robertson swings and pops one up shallow into left field. Fryman will leap up and make a catch as he finds it in the shadows there near the left field line. Kind of jumped up with two hands like he was a receiver trying to catch a football on the sideline. And there you see Ben Ramirez, the third baseman, kind of mocking him, saying, "Why did you jump for that? That was just a little pop-up."
It's kind of like, I don't know if you used to do this, but when I used to play like football in the front yard, sometimes you try to make an easy catch look tough by like tapping it and making it look all acrobatic. Kind of like that.
Just a little extra flair on that catch from Fryman, who's made two good outs to start this inning. Zach Bierman comes up with 2 outs and nobody on. He takes a breaking pitch upstairs for ball one. Troy Miller on, replacing Spencer Van Scoy in his second inning of work. 1-0 to Bierman, lined off foul towards the parking lot. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fans, join us for Heroes in the Park this Friday, July the 6th. During the game against the Bourne Braves, we'll be honoring active and retired military personnel. Game is at 5 p.m. It's Heroes in the Park, Friday, July the 6th, here at Lowell Park. 2-1 count to Bierman. Going to have everything from Polar Cave certificates, free hot dogs, special pins. Going to be a great day honoring our active and retired military personnel. Swing and a miss from Bierman on a fastball, and now a 2-2 count. 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the 7th inning. 3-2 Cotuit. Troy Miller out of Michigan facing a Coastal Carolina batter. 2-2. Breaking pitch just misses the outside corner. Mark Delaney says no. Troy Miller thought yes. He was already a step towards the first base dugout. But it will have to stay on for a full count situation against Bierman. Right-hander looks in. Now comes in the windup to the plate. Strike 3 called. Fastball on the inside corner. Mark Delaney violently ringing up Zach Bierman. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Chatham. Cotuit goes scoreless in the bottom of the 7th inning. We head to the 8th. Kettleers leading 3-2 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
back here at Lowell Park. 3-2 Cotuit lead, top of the 8th. Deacon Metters still on to try and keep the Chatham Anglers quiet as the Kettleers try and hold on to this 3-2 lead. Brandon Fryman, Jorge Arenas, and Greg Jones will be Metters' opponents. That's the 8-9 one-hitters for Chatham. Kettleers already lead the season series 1-0 after a 6-1 win a week ago today. Here comes the first pitch to Fryman, and he swings at a ghost. Strike number 1. Fryman out of Samford University, 6 for 18 on the season, 1 for 2 today, single, and came around to score 1 of 2 Chatham runs. In the top of the 6th, he takes ball 2.
Samford had a fantastic year in baseball out of Birmingham in the Southern Athletic Conference. SoCon for short, and they toured around. They beat Alabama in Deacon Metters at Sewell Thomas Stadium. They beat them in a couple of midweek matchups there in Tuscaloosa.
Metters fires in the 2-1. It's sent high in the air into center field. Bo Brundage is right under it. He reaches up and snags it for out number 1. Full slate of Cape League action tonight. In fact, all 5 games are West versus East. Today, of course, Cotuit from the West, Chatham from the East. It's 3-2 top 8. Out at Spillane Field, 2-1, the YD Red Sox over the Wareham Gatemen. At White House Field in Harwich, it's 2-0 Hyannis over the Mariners. 3-2 Bourne leading Orleans in the top of the 6th at Eldridge. And at Arnie Allen Diamond in Falmouth, it's 2-2 between the Whitecaps and the Commodores. 0-1 count to Jorge Arenas. As the starting third baseman today moved over to second, with Ben Ramirez slotting into third for Tom Holliday. Now Metters gets set for the 0-1, and it's way high and tight for ball 1.
How about looking around the league, all interdivisional matchups today on a Sunday, but that's the last time we'll see in a little bit. All West Division heavy for Cotuit heading on out for the next couple of weeks, and it's the same for Chatham and anybody else in the East. A lot of East-West to begin the season, and then we'll get into the meaty part of July with a lot of key division games.
2-1 count, Metters against Arenas. Here's the pitch, dribbled foul on the left side. Count runs to 2-2. Both teams staying within the division tomorrow. Chatham will head over to Harwich for a game on Tuesday, actually, at 6:30. They get the day off tomorrow. As Arenas swings right through, strike 3. That's Deacon Metters' 4th strikeout. And now 2 outs here in the 8th.
Good pitch from Deacon there on the off-speed. Fooled Arenas badly, and that's his out pitch, Sam. That is his out pitch sometimes. He can rock the fastball in there, and if he can command that early, he gets to that out pitch.
First pitch to Greg Jones. Just hits the outside corner, strike 1. Ryan Reynolds, the third baseman out of Texas, playing way in. Both feet firmly on the infield grass. Normal depth for the rest of the infield and outfield. Here's a breaking ball high at the letters for ball 1. So Reynolds playing way in, maybe expecting a bunt from the speedy Jones. But yet to reach today. He sends a single right up the middle past Michael Salvatore. That was a line shot dribbling into center field. And now some life with 2 outs for Chatham. So Greg Jones with his first hit of the ball game, and that'll bring up Colin Simpson out of Oklahoma State, but first a mound visit coming from Jerry Weinstein, and looks like he might turn to the bullpen here. Weinstein comes, takes the ball from Deacon Metters. That'll be it for Metters. Pitching change, 2 outs, top of the 8th. Cotuit hanging on to a 3-2 lead. We'll have that change for you on the other side of this quick break on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Garrett Gale on the bump for the Kettleers as he comes in to replace Deacon Metters. Metters went 2+, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. Garrett Gale has been the de facto closer this season for the Kettleers, and he comes out in a maybe 4-out save situation. He's appeared 6 times this season for the Kettleers, and he has yet to give up a single earned run. He's got a 1-1 record in those 6 appearances, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Again, no earned runs for Garrett Gale. He comes on with a runner on first. That's Greg Jones, the speedy leadoff man. And now Colin Simpson out of Oklahoma State is set to face off against Garrett Gale. Gale 6'1", 200. He's a righty out of Rice University. Simpson a lefty, and he calls a quick time. Jones has the lead at first. He's trying to swat something out of his eyes. Might be some bugs, might just be the sun. He's mostly in the shade as he gets in his lead. And now Garrett Gale going to check on him with a throw to first, but Jones is back in time. So Colin Simpson at the plate. He's 0 for 3 today, but did drive in 2 runs on a messy sac fly in the 6th. That saw another run come in on a throwing error. Gale checks on the runner again, but Jones back in time as he dirties up those smooth white pinstripe pants. And Simpson still awaiting the first pitch from Garrett Gale. Gale comes set. Here's the pitch out of the stretch. High and outside for ball 1. Simpson out of Oklahoma State. Left fielder and catcher, 5'9", 215. Had a 260 batting average with a team-high 18 homers and 51 ribbies last season. He awaits the 1-0. Here it comes from Gale. Fastball pinned on the outer corner. Taken for strike 1. Simpson suffered an ugly broken bone in his right hand freshman year, but the real damage came in surgery. A doctor accidentally clipped the nerve in his hand, and Simpson didn't realize till months later when he started to lose muscle. Gale checks on the runner again, throws to first, but Jones back in time for the 3rd time. Simpson said by the time he realized his right hand looked kind of like a skeleton. Had no muscle in that. So he had to do some extra rehab to come back, and he came back in a big way, leading his team in home runs. Gale again, the pickoff attempt. Bierman tries to apply the tag, but the speedy Jones is back under it.
Nearly got him there. That was a good move from Gale, and Bierman with a quick swipe to try and get the runner.
Bierman's already been successful on one of those. That was a pickoff all the way back in the 2nd from Veneziano. The 1-1 swung on and missed, and the count runs to 1-2. By the way, I should mention Zach Humphreys is now the battery mate for Garrett Gale. He came in as a defensive substitution to start the inning, replacing Eric Jones. Humphreys undoubtedly the best defensive catcher Cotuit has, and there's very little margin for error as the Kettleers lead it 3-2 with 2 outs in the 8th. Gale again fires to first, and again Jones is back. The Kettleers scored all 3 runs on a nice little rally in the 5th. Ryan Reynolds, Duke Ellis got things started, and then Chatham added 2 in the 6th. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's outside. The runner going. The relay to second is in time for the out. Zach Humphreys to Mike Salvatore lays down the tag, gets Jones, and that's the end of the inning. Cotuit still on top 3-2 as we head to the home half of the 8th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. back here on a July night at Lowell Park, and the Kettleers are on top 3-2 over the Chatham Anglers. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Kettleers coming to bat. It's the meat of the order, 3-4-5. Michael Tolia, Bo Brundage, and Corey Wood. They'll face the Michigan Wolverine, Troy Miller, back on work for another inning for Tom Holliday's bunch. The Kettleers in a one-run game right now. They've played a whole host of those this season, 5 to be exact. They've got a 3-2 record in those one-run games. Chatham, on the other hand, has yet to play a one-run game this season as strike one comes into Tolia. Pretty remarkable that 16 games into the season, they've yet to have a one-run game. Kettleers hoping to make this more than just a one-run game here as Tolia takes ball 1 low. The Kettleers coming into this one 8-8, good for 4th in the West. Chatham 8-6-2, 3rd in the East. It's a 1-1 count for Michael Tolia. He's yet to register a hit today, and he takes ball 2 low. Just dribbles past the catcher, Nick Kale. Next up for the Kettleers is tomorrow at Falmouth. 6 o'clock first pitch at Gov Fuller Field. We hope you'll join us right here, Mixler.com/Cotuit Broadcasting for that one. But first, some unfinished business here. The 2-1 is a fastball that hooks too far inside. That's ball 3 for Troy Miller. 1 strike to Michael Tolia. And no one on, no one out here at Lowell Park. Tolia, switch hitter, batting lefty right now against the right-handed Miller. Miller now kicks, deals, swung on by Tolia, and it's a high fly foul. And the count runs full. Really nice crowd on hand. 4th of July weekend, so a lot of people pouring onto the Cape.
It's that time. It is that time. License plates from all over the country flocking to one little island.
Here's the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss from Tolia, strike 3. That is the 5th strikeout for Troy Miller, and now 1 out here in the 8th.
A lot of strikeouts today for the Chatham pitching staff. It started with Alec Manoa, who had 6 of them. Spencer Van Scoy had a couple of his own, and then you see there Troy Miller, 5 already. He's been doing what he needs to do, keeping the A's in this ball game.
Here comes his first pitch to Bo Brundage. It's taken low for ball 1. Brundage today 0 for 3. You mentioned Alec Manoa. Him coming out of the game was a blessing for the Kettleers. Manoa was nearly perfect in his 4 innings of pitching as ball 2 comes in high. He was the starter for Chatham out of West Virginia. He went 4 innings, gave up no runs, no hits, just 1 base runner on a walk, and the 6 strikeouts that Sam mentioned. Here comes the 2-0. Fastball on the outside corner, strike 1. Anthony Veneziano got the starting nod for the Kettleers. He went 5 1/3, gave up 3 hits, just 1 earned run, 2 total runs, and 2 strikeouts. Here's the 1-1 to Brundage. Chopped foul down the first base line, just past Brady North over there in the shadows. And the count 2-2. There must be some bugs down there. I'm seeing Brady North trying to swat something away from his face. Earlier in the last inning, Greg Jones was doing the same when he had the lead at first. Maybe some gnats down there. Here's the 2-2 to Brundage. He swings right through it, a drop 3rd strike, however. Kale, the high throw, corralled by Tristan English. And Bo Brundage heads back to the dugout with the strikeout. Yeah, so must be some bugs over there.
Yeah, I'll never forget as far as baseball and bugs go, Jabba Chamberlain, what was that, 2007
Yep.
ALCS against the Cleveland Indians? That's what I'll always remember when I see any player, especially a pitcher, that's swatting at the gnats or the flies, whatever it may be out there. Lowell Park featuring them today. Never really been noticed as a park feature any bugs, at least from our perspective.
Corey Wood takes a grounder right to the second baseman, Jorge Arenas. He fires to first to get the 4-3 putout. So a 1-2-3 inning from Troy Miller, and we head to the 9th. Kettleers looking to close this one out. It's Cotuit 3, Chatham 2. We'll be back with the 9th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It's ninth inning time here at Lowell Park. Kettleers clinging on to a 3-2 lead. Garrett Gale, the Rice Owl, back on to work the ninth as he looks for a 4-out save. He'll face the 2-3-4 hitters, Colin Simpson, Tristan English, and Ben Ramirez as he tries to close this one out. Remember, Garrett Gale has yet to give up an earned run on the season. He'll look to keep his record perfect as he tries to give the Kettleers their 9th win of the season and go back to above 500, as the Kettleers are right now 8-8. Troy Miller out of Michigan was working the bottom of the 8th. He went 1-2-3, striking out Michael Tolia and Bo Brundage, and then sending out Corey Wood on a golden out, a ground out to Corey Wood's own position at second. And now it's up to Garrett Gale to finish things out for Cotuit. First, it's the lefty Colin Simpson, and the righty Gale deals in a first pitch strike, swung on and missed, and he has the 0-1 advantage. Gale juggling the ball in the back of his right hand as he gazes in and gets the signal from Humphreys. Here's the 0-1, swung on, a chopper to the third baseman Reynolds, scoops it up, throws across the diamond for the 5-3 putout, one away in the 9th.
Nice play by Reynolds. That ball was hugging the foul line. I thought it might go out foul before the bag, but he knew he had to play it. A good play right at about thigh level and a throw in the air to get the runner in Simpson.
Here's Tristan English now, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, 0 for 3 today. Came in red hot, 378 hitter with 3 dingers. And here comes the first pitch from Gale, swung on, roped out into left center field. It's down a base hit for Tristan English. He's coming around first, heads to second. The throw cut off by the shortstop Salvatore. And now the tying run in scoring position as Tristan English is camped out on second with the 1-out double.
That was interesting there. Duke Ellis, who threw it in from left field, threw as a cut 3. That must have been what was communicated, or maybe there's a miscommunication. I thought there would have been a close play at second. Not like English is the fastest guy in the world, but he got in standing up. And just as I say that, Tom Holliday knows he's not that fleet-footed. He's going to go in for the pinch runner.
Pinch runner's Austin Wilhite, sophomore out of Georgia Tech, so college teammate of Tristan English. Now here's the first pitch to the red bat holding Ben Ramirez. It hooks inside for ball 1. You're just joining us. It's crunch time here at Lowell Park, top of the 9th, 1 away. 3-2 Cotuit. Runner in scoring position for Chatham. Ben Ramirez at the plate. Garrett Gale looking for the 4-out save. The 1-0 pitch falls in the dirt, and the count runs to 2-0. So Austin Wilhite comes in as the pinch runner, and now it's Jerry time. Coach Weinstein trotting out of the dugout with the bright red stirrups and the pearly number 4 uniform to have a quick chat with Garrett Gale here. A runner in scoring position. It's the speedy Austin Wilhite with Ben Ramirez at the plate. Ramirez came in the 7th as a pinch hitter to Adam Fogel. He grounded out to second, and now he has the 2-0 advantage. The infield disperses back to their positions. Only Jerry, Humphreys, and Gale remain, and now Mark Delaney breaks it up. It's a 2-0 count for Ben Ramirez. Top of the 9th, Cotuit looking to close it out. Garrett Gale, a good candidate to do so. Again, yet to give up an earned run this season. Here comes the 2-0 pitch, swung on, a chopper. Over to the second baseman, Corey Wood. He scoops it up, throws to first to get an important out number 2. Austin Wilhite moves 90 feet closer to home. He's now lurking at third. With Blake Sable coming up, looking to drive home the tying run with 2 outs.
This is a big matchup here. Gale against Sable. Garrett Gale looking for the 4-out save and trying to get a big home win on a Sunday here at Lowell Park.
Sable also came in as a pinch hitter back in the 7th. He singled in his only at-bat today. Runner on third, Cotuit hanging on with a 1-0 lead. First pitch gets by Humphreys. Here comes Wilhite. He slides into home safe on the pass ball, and Chatham ties things up here in the 9th.
I was going to say the out beforehand by Ramirez to advance the runner 90 feet was really big because that makes every pitch that more important. And there the pass ball getting away from Humphreys, allowing the runner in Wilhite to come home and score, and all of a sudden a tie game.
A deflated field here at Lowell Park. Now 3-3. Here's the 1-0 to Sable. It's at his ankles low for ball 2. So now clear base paths. Wilhite, who came in as a pinch runner, for Tristan English, who doubled. He started over at second, moved over to third on the ground out by Ben Ramirez, and then coming home there on the pass ball. It's 3-3 here in the top of the ninth. The 2-0 from Gale. Half swing. He did go around, and it's strike one. So Cotuit was unable to buy any insurance in the eighth. And it comes back to bite them here in the ninth. 3 runs on 6 hits for Chatham, 3 on 4 for the Kets. Here's the 2-1 from Gale, swung on, a slow tapper right to the second baseman Corey Wood, who flips to his college teammate Zach Bierman for the 4-3 putout. But Chatham scraps across a run on the pass ball, and it's 3-3 as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Kettleers will look to walk it off here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And we head to the bottom of the ninth. Kettleers will look to walk it off. It's the 2 newbies, Ryan Reynolds and Duke Ellis, to lead things off for the Kettleers, followed by Mike Salvatore. A run comes across for Chatham in the top of the ninth. A 1-out double from Tristan English. Austin Wilhite came in as a pinch runner, moved to third on a grounder, came home on a pass ball. Swing and a miss there from Ryan Reynolds. Now an 0-1 count. He's facing off against Troy Miller out of Michigan. Back on for his 4th inning of work. He's been really solid with 5 strikeouts, and he hasn't given up any runs to the Kettleers. Here's the 0-1 to Reynolds. Breaking ball falls into the zone, strike 2. Reynolds today, he's 1 for 2. Had a single in the 5th that started a 3-run rally for the Kettleers. Reynolds came home to score on an RBI single from Will Robertson. He sends this one high and far into left field, ranging back Colin Simpson. He makes a catch on the run right at the wall for out number 1.
Good wood there from Reynolds. He hit it oppo once again, and it looked like Simpson might be running out of room, but he was able to kind of high point it, leaped up to make the catch.
Now it's Duke Ellis, the other newcomer out of Texas. Also 1 for 2 today. Again, a single, came around to score in the 5th. Also has a walk to his name today. Ellis, a lefty, digs in against the righty Troy Miller, who kicks and deals. It's a fastball, taken outside, ball 1. On deck, Mike Salvatore. He's backed up by Zach Humphreys sitting in the hole. 3-3, bottom 9, 1 out. Here's the 1-0. A late swing and a miss there from Duke Ellis. He sat on it for a second and then took a cut for strike 1. Normal depth for the infield and most of the outfield. Right fielder coming in a little bit. That's Blake Sable. As ball 2 falls at the ankles, it's a 2-1 count. Duke Ellis, one of the new Kettleers, 6'2", 170, a junior out of Texas. Here comes the 2-1 from Troy Miller. It's outside, good eye Duke, and the count moves to 3-1. Three balls, 1 strike. Troy Miller, the Michigan Wolverine, kicks and deals. This time a fastball down the pipe, taken for strike 2.
All you got to do in this situation is just find a way to get on. Put that pressure on.
Full count. Ellis awaiting the pitch. Miller kicks and deals. It's a breaking ball taken for strike 3. A nice looping curveball from Troy Miller. He sits down to Ellis. And now Mike Salvatore. It's his last chance here in the 9th.
That outside corner has been there all day with Mark Delaney behind the plate. Another strikeout looking for a Kettleer today. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them on the day. Plenty more in total, and unfortunately Ellis wasn't able to make a decision on that breaking pitch.
First pitch outside, ball 1 to Salvatore. 13 strikeouts on the day for the Kettleers. 6 of them from Troy Miller, 6 from the starter, Alec Manoah. Here comes the 1-0, swung on, sent on a fly into right field, coming back Sable. He makes the overhead catch for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning there for Troy Miller, and we will head to extras for the second time in 3 days. Extra innings on the horizon here at Lowell Park, right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Extra innings here at Lowell Park, a 3-3 deadlock between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Chatham A's. Garrett Gale will remain on the mound for the Kettleers in this inning. He's already worked an inning and a third. Had a chance in a save situation, but a pass ball that got by Zach Humphreys, allowing a run to come across in the top of the 9th for Chatham. They tied this game up at 3 apiece, and here we are in the top of the 10th inning. Gale on the mound facing off against Drew Mendoza to start things off, as Gale misses up and away with a fastball. Mendoza, then Nick Cale, followed by Brandon Fryman here in the Chatham order, 6, 7, and 8. 1-0 from Gale, hit in the air towards left center field. Brundage tracking back. He'll slow down and make the catch near the postseason banner in the alley, and that's the first out of the inning. So Mendoza flies to center field. Garrett Gale working into uncharted territory, the Rice Owl. Now an inning and 2/3 under his belt. Initially on for a 4-out save. Pitching coach Jerry Weinstein, who makes these decisions when it comes to the arm, going with his closer here in the 10th. Sticking with the hot hand as the right-hander has been effective all season long. Now facing Nick Cale, batting from the right side, the catcher who entered this game as a defensive sub for Jake Taylor. He takes a breaking pitch for strike 1. 3-3 here in the top of 10, 1 out and nobody on for Chatham. Garrett Gale comes set out of the stretch. The 0-1 fouled off by Cale. It's advantage Gale. No balls and 2 strikes.
Gale and Cale, a Dr. Seuss story.
How about that? Oh, the places you'll go here at Lowell Park in extra innings. Garrett Gale looking in for a sign from Zach Humphreys. He got it. And now he comes at the belt. The 0-2 lifted in the air, maybe playable on the infield in foul territory, but this one will go into the bleachers on the first base grandstand.
Both of these teams have played 1 extra inning game this year. Both of them were against Falmouth, and both lost.
How about that? The Commodores, who have rallied after starting 2-8, they're now 7-9, just a game back of Cotuit for 4th place in the Western Division. Of course, 4th place, really the all-important place if you're in that kind of battle. The top 4 teams in each division qualify for the postseason. Chatham and Cotuit here in extras, a 3-3 game. Kale at the plate, the 0-2 from Kale. This one hit in the air towards right field. It'll get out of play, foul. Garrett Gale out of Cypress, Texas. The Texan working against Nick Kale here. Substitute catcher out of the University of Washington. Nobody on the base pass. Here's the 0-2 from Gale. Chopped right up the middle, off of Gale's glove towards Wood at second base. He'll make the play off the deflection and throw to first for the second out of the inning. Kale, not that fast of a runner, just jogging up the line. And there's a 4-3 putout.
Yeah, a little dicey. Sometimes you see the ball hit off the pitcher's glove and take a beeline right into the outfield. That time, the Kettleers fortunate that it fell right into Corey Wood's lap.
So 2 outs and nobody on for Brandon Fryman, the Chatham shortstop, who takes a good fastball at 93 miles an hour right on the outer half of the plate for strike 1. Garrett Gale with 2 innings of work under his belt trying to finish off this third here. The 0-1 misses way outside, 94 on that heater. Fryman on the day, he's 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored on that sac fly back in the 6th for Chatham. 1-1, breaking pitch sweeps off, 2 balls and 1 strike to Fryman. Gale, stocky, on the mound, the right-hander at about 5'11". Comes set at the belt, kicks and deals at 2-1, nubbed off foul.
Let's do 5-1. But as we know, sometimes the listings can be generous.
6-1, you mean?
6-1.
Yeah. I was going to say, were they missing one from the 11 there? A 2-2 count to Fryman. Pitch from Gale. Called strike 3. He got a beautiful strider there. And Garrett Gale gets out of the 10th inning. 1-2-3. He sits down the Anglers in order. And we head to the home half of the 10th. 3-3 tie, and the Kettleers coming to bat. When we return, you're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 10th inning, and the Kettleers trying to crack through here at home. A tie game between the Chatham Anglers and the Cotuit Kettleers. 3 apiece, 9-1-2. Due up for the Ketts, Humphreys, Robertson, then Bierman, all facing the right-hander out of Michigan, Troy Miller. He winds up and whips in a first pitch strike to Humphreys. A good fastball down the plate. 0-1 the count on the TCU backstop, who entered this game as a defensive substitution, making his first plate appearance. The 0-1 from Miller is a yacker that's taken on the left side foul. And Humphreys in an 0-2 hole. He was the highlighted player, unfortunately, for the tying run that came across in the top of the 9th for Chatham. A pass ball on a breaking pitch from Garrett Gale that allowed Austin Wilhite to score. The 0-2 pitch just brushes off the plate with a good curveball from Miller. 1-2 the count on Humphreys. Shadows all across the field here at Lowell Park. The only sun-kissed part of this field is right field, where Austin Wilhite stands. 1-2 from Miller. Popped up foul on the right side. It was Wilhite's run that has tied up this game for Chatham. They scored 2 on kind of a wacky sac fly back in the 6th. A 3 spot in the 5th, the source of offense for Cotuit today. Miller shaking off the sign from Nick Cale. Here's his 1-2. Sharp ground ball towards second base, inhaled by Arenas, and he'll throw on to Sable for out number 1.
So now top of the order coming up, some big guns with Will Robertson and Zach Bierman. Both of them struck back-to-back in the 5th. Robertson drove in 2 with a single, then Bierman drove in the 3rd run with a single, and looks like Dennis Cook is going to turn towards the bullpen.
A pitching change here for Chatham. Troy Miller does his job. Excellent. And 3+ innings of relief. He'll come out with 1 out in the bottom of the 10th. Will Robertson will be at the plate to face a new Angler arm. We'll have it for you when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 10th inning here at Lowell Park. 1 out and nobody on, and a new pitcher for the Chatham Anglers, a lefty out of the bullpen, as Dennis Cook, the Anglers pitching coach, will call on Nick Scheidler, 6'3", 190 pounds, a rising junior out of UCLA. Warming up right now with Nick Cale, his battery mate. The lanky left-hander looking a little wild in his warm-up pitches. A couple of them have sailed to the backstop. Maybe that's a telling sign for what the 1 and 2 batters in the Cotuit order will get to see here. Nobody on base as Zach Humphreys grounded to second base to start out this inning. Will Robertson will be the batter, and then Zach Bierman due up. If they get on, Michael Tolia, the UCLA teammate of Nick Scheidler, will be at the plate. He continues to warm up as Mark Delaney behind home plate, saying you got one more. The Chatham infield conferencing at second base. The Chatham outfield meeting with Greg Jones in center field. The quiet Lowell Park here as we have extra inning baseball, a 3-3 tie game between Cotuit and Chatham. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief as the top of the order will look to try and salvage this one on Sunday for the Kettleers.
Scheidler this season doesn't have much action. He's faced just 2 batters, one at Wareham, one against Harwich just yesterday.
He faces one of the best in the Kettleers lineup. It's Will Robertson, who is 1 for 4 today with a 2 RBI single in the 5th. The left-hander in Scheidler stands tall. Here's his first pitch to Robertson. Edged off the end of the bat foul for strike 1. Went with a curveball there to start out that at-bat. Robertson batting from the left side, holding that Blackwood bat with the maroon Franklin batting gloves. Scheidler, a deep breath, comes set at his belly button. The 0-2 hit high in the air, straightaway center field. A hard couple steps in from Greg Jones, and he makes the catch for the second out of this 10th inning. So Nick Scheidler retires the first man he sees. There's 2 outs and nobody on, and Zach Bierman will come to the plate. Always a threat for a long ball here with nobody out. He's had a rough day at the office, though. He's 1 for 4 with an RBI single back in that 3-run 5th inning for the Kettleers, but he's also struck out 3 times. Nick Scheidler, here's a leg kick, and the first pitch to Bierman catches the outside corner off-speed pitch for strike 1.
Chatham knows Bierman well as a power hitter. He had that nearly 400-foot blast back at Betts Field last week.
Scheidler comes set, standing straight up. Here's the 0-1 to Bierman. Another off-speed pitch that's in there for strike 2. Scheidler going with the finesse against one of the strongest bats in this order for Cotuit and Zach Bierman. Scheidler looks in, gets his sign from Kale. Here's the 0-2. Spikes a 81-mile-an-hour slider down there for ball 1. Kettleers scored 3 in the 5th inning. They were up 3-0. Chatham answered with 2 runs in the 6th off of 1 sac fly. And then things up in the top of the 9th off of a pass ball. 2 outs and nobody on here. The 1-2 from Scheidler. Sharp foul ball towards the Kettleers dugout on the third base side from Bierman, who stays alive. Looked like Tim Smith, the strength and conditioning coach, ended up with that one after a ping pong kind of ricochet, and he tosses it in with a laugh. Always lighthearted Tim Smith down there. Scheidler, the lefty, comes set. Here's his 1-2 to Bierman. Breaking pitch that's blocked by Kale off the plate for ball 2. Bierman lays off. Chatham defense protecting the lines on the infield. Sable down that right field line at first. Ramirez hugging the left field line at third. No doubles defense. Corner outfielders also shading that way. There's big gaps in the alley. 2-2 pitch. This one served towards right field. It's shallow. It's sinking. It will drop in front of Wilhite. And Zach Bierman with 2 strikes fights it off. His second base hit of the day, and he'll keep the Kettleers alive in the bottom of the 10th.
And now the real show. A chance for Michael Tolia.
Kettleers today, and Tolia will bat from the on the day. 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts in his last 2 plate appearances. 3-3 ball game in the bottom of the 10th inning. Scheidler looks over to Bierman at first. The 1-0 offering to Tolia right down the pipe with a fastball, 1-1. Sun is setting here at Lowell Park. Pink skies above, and of course no lights here at Lowell Park. Sun projected to set at 8:18, so a possible tie as we're up against the clock here in this one. Scheidler looking over at Bierman at first. Now the 1-1 to Tolia. He rips through it. A fastball that went by him. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Scheidler, a chance for some bragging rights here in a big spot. Tolia, of course, one of UCLA's best players. Scheidler, just one of the many relievers in the pen.
Left-hander looks in, takes a big breath. Runner on first with 2 outs. A 1-2 count with Tolia. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He beat him on a breaking ball. Nick Kale applies the tag on a drop third strike. And Michael Tolia unable to come up with a runner on first base. And the Kettleers leave a man as we head to the 11th. This game continues, a 3-3 tie. It's the Kettleers and the Chatham A's here on the Cotuit Kettleers Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome to the 11th inning here at Lowell Park. Chatham and Cotuit tied up at 3 in the 11th. Garrett Gale back on to work for the Kettleers. He'll face off against the 9-1-2 hitters. And it looks like Tom Holliday inserted another pinch hitter. He's inserted quite a few pinch hitters today. Jorge Arenas comes out. John Rave comes in.
John Rave out of Illinois State. Now Jerry Weinstein calling a meeting at the mound. Looks like he's going to turn to the bullpen here.
That's weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Garrett Gale warmed up to get ready for this inning. And Jerry
I think it's because of the pinch hitter, because Arenas lines up as a righty against the righty Gale, but John Rave, a lefty, so Jerry Weinstein says, you know what, I'll go with a lefty of my own. Tom Holliday coming out for a quick chat with the umpiring crew, maybe checking the legality of that. Jerry Weinstein walking back with a stare back to the umpires. It's Joey Walsh, the lefty out of Boston College. We'll give him a moment to work and get set for this top of the 11th. We'll be back with the 11th right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Pitching change for the Kettleers. Garrett Gale came out to work the 11th, but doesn't even get to throw a pitch as Tom Holliday countered with the substitution. Jerry Weinstein puts in his own lefty, and it's Joey Walsh out of Boston College, who has been tough as nails for the Kettleers in his 4 appearances. He's given up just 1 run, the last of which was 2 nights ago down at Gov Fuller Field against Falmouth. He did give up a run, and Falmouth ended up winning on a walk-off, but Walsh was excellent, came in a tough spot. The bases were loaded for Falmouth in the bottom of the 9th. Their cleanup hitter up, and Joey Walsh struck him out. He'll face off against the pinch hitter, a lefty John Rave out of Illinois State, and Walsh fires in a first pitch strike on the outside corner. Sun continues to set here at Cotuit. We're in the top of the 11th, a 3-3 ball game between the Kets and the Anglers. Second pitch to Rave is in the dirt for ball 1. Remember, there's no lights at Lowell Park. The cap is 12 innings. That's the max you can play on the Cape League, but the game could be called earlier due to darkness. So we'll see if darkness creeps in. Certainly a fight against time as ball 2 comes in. The Kettleers have yet to register a tie this season, one of just 3 teams. Chatham already has 2. Here comes the 2-1 from Walsh to Rave. Long windup delivery. Way high and tight on Rave. He had to duck out of the way, and it's a 3-1 count.
Nearly a hit batsman there to lead off the inning.
Here's the windup and the delivery from Walsh. Fastball just hit on the inside corner. Called strike from Delaney. Rave was ready to drop his bat and head to first, but Mark Delaney has shown us that he has a pretty big strike zone, and Rave sees it there. Here's the payoff pitch at 3-2. Called strike 3. Joey Walsh comes back with 2 nice pitches on the inside corner, and he sits down John Rave.
Wow. Mark Delaney has loved with the backwards K today. I mean, he has been ringing hitters up big time, and that time a great spot from Joey Walsh on the inside corner and a good comeback in that at-bat.
Now the speedy Greg Jones, the leadoff hitter for Chatham. He's reached twice today. First pitch to him is in there for strike 1. Kettleers infield, playing in a little bit on the corners. Ryan Reynolds kind of hugging the third base foul line. As the 0-1 comes in, and it's a rocket foul down that third base line, and the count runs to 0-2 as Joey Walsh gets a new baseball from his battery mate Zach Humphreys. And now the left fielder Duke Ellis comes on to grab the baseball, throw it back into the dugout. Top 11 here in Chatham, or here in Cotuit. I'm getting all mixed up of where I even am.
It's that kind of day.
No balls, 2 strikes. Joey Walsh comes set. Long windup. Here's the leg kick and the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3, a drop third strike. Humphreys with the formality, a throw to first. That's 2 up, 2 down on 2 Ks for Joey Walsh.
Nice job, Joey Walsh, going to that breaking pitch. Effective out of the pen, and Jerry Weinstein looking to have a good move here in the 11th.
Colin Simpson. He digs in, and Joey Walsh hopes that's his last opponent of the inning. As he initiates his windup, sends in the pitch. It's fought off foul. A fly down the left field line. Joe Kavanaugh, Kettleers photographer and local lawyer, runs out onto the field to grab the ball.
I tell you what, Joe Kavanaugh is a hustler. He is hustling all over the place. I love it.
Here comes the 0-1 to Colin Simpson. Lefty-lefty matchup. He swings right through it, and now Simpson in an 0-2 hole. Joey Walsh looking to strike out the side. Walsh, 6'1", 230 out of Boston College by way of Plymouth, Massachusetts, just a few miles on the other side of the Cape Cod Canal. He's got an 0-2 count, and now Walsh kicks and fires, hooks outside for ball 1. Walsh on the season, a 1.50 ERA, 9 strikeouts, now 11 with those 2, and no walks. He's got a 1-2 count with 2 outs, no one on. Here's the pitch, swung on, a slow tapper, just foul down the third base line. Randy Whistler, the Chatham third base coach, picks it up and tosses it over to Peyton Burdick in the Cotuit dugout, and we'll do it again with a 1-2 count to Colin Simpson out of Oklahoma State. He drove in 2 on a sac fly back in the 6th. Now here's the 1-2 again from Walsh. Swung on, it's a high fly ball to center field. Playable for Beau Brundage, who takes a few steps in and makes the snag. A 1-2-3 inning from Joey Walsh. We head to the 11th with the Kettleers looking to win it in extras here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here in Cotuit, bottom of the 11th. Kettleers will look to walk things off, and it very well might be the last inning we play. Remember, no lights at Lowell Park. Oftentimes the games that go to extras can be called before it's over due to darkness. It's Nick Scheidler back on to face Beau Brundage, Corey Wood, and Ryan Reynolds here in the bottom of the 11th. The Kettleers were up 3-0 after a 3-run 5th, spearheaded by Ryan Reynolds and Duke Ellis, the newcomers out of Texas. Chatham has scored all of their 3 runs in unorthodox ways. A sac fly in the 6th inning drove in 2 runs on a throwing error. And then in the top of the 9th, they scrapped across a run that came in from third on a pass ball. Here we are, 3-3, bottom of the 11th. Beau Brundage digs in to face off against Nick Scheidler, the UCLA Bruin. The tall, lanky southpaw kicks and fires to Brundage. It's a high-arcing breaking ball that's a bit too far high and inside, and that's ball 1. Corey Wood on deck, followed by Ryan Reynolds. Brundage 0 for 4 today. He's due for 1. It's a 1-0 count. Here comes the pitch. This time a fastball, or a breaking pitch rather, on the inside corner, taken for strike 1. Brundage on fire coming into this one. His last 10 games, he's been a near 400 hitter at .391. Hits in 9 of his last 11 games. Here comes the 1-1 to Beau, swung on and cranked out into right field. A high fly ball going back, wheel height, and this ball is gone! A walk-off home run for Bo Brundage, and the Kettleers win it 4-3 in 11.
How about Bo Brundage? Big smile on his face. Mike Roberts fired up. Bring out the pinstripes, baby. A sea of white at home plate. Bo Brundage wins it for the Kettleers.
And Bo Brundage mobbed at home plate by his Kettleer teammates. His first home run of the season. It was just a high fly ball that kept carrying and carrying over the right field fence. And the Kettleers win this one in extras, 4-3. Bo Brundage last season at Portland had just one home run. No home runs yet this season, certainly known as a contact hitter. But that time, a solo blast, and the Kettleers walk it off in extras.
Wow. How about that? So happy for Bo to see that one fly over the fence. John Ray was in right field. He had no chance. He was playing way in. That ball, big shot by Bo Brundage.
Now the customary handshakes at home plate between the Kettleers and the Anglers. Final score from Lowell Park, 4-3. Cotuit wins it on Bo Brundage's walk-off blast. We'll be back in a minute to wrap this one up. 4-3, Kettleers take it in 11. We'll be back with the wrap-up here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Yep. Welcome back to a festive Lowell Park. The Kettleers get their 9th win of the season in thrilling fashion, an 11-inning game. Bo Brundage comes up to lead the 11th, and he sends a high fly ball to right that carried and carried over the fence, his first home run of the season. It comes in walk-off fashion, and the Kettleers take down the Anglers for the second time this season, 4-3. Sam Brief alongside Sam Niederman. Thanks for sticking with us through this one. It was a very back-and-forth game. Kettleers struck for 3 in the 5th, spearheaded by the 2 newcomers out of Texas, Ryan Reynolds and Duke Ellis. They scored 3. The Anglers responded by scrapping across 3, 2 in the 6th, then 1 in the 9th on a pass ball. We went to extras, and then take it away, Bo Brundage with the home run.
Wow, that was great to see. Bo Brundage gets a hold of one, his first home run of the season. He had been a contact hitter for the Kettleers, actually leading this club in batting average when you discount Mike Salvatore, who doesn't have enough at-bats to qualify. A .317 clip coming in. He finally gets a little juice on top of that. Right out to right field. The ball was always going to get out. Bo Brundage gets this one in the win column. A little bit of a close call. I thought it would be a tie. I thought it might be a tie, but Brundage had other things to say about that, and it was so great. As the sun sets on Lowell Park, Brundage with the walk-off solo home run. An unconventional win, one of the weirder wins that Cotuit has had this season. A lot of offense was at a premium today, but they find a way to win.
3 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the visiting Anglers. 4 runs, 6 hits, an error, and 6 men left on base for the Kettleers, and Bo Brundage was the hero. Let's flash back to the start of this game, Sam. It was a pitcher's duel for about the first hour of this one. Alec Manoah was dynamite for the Chatham Anglers. 4 innings, no runs on no hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Anthony Veneziano went 5 innings and a third, 3 hits, just 1 earned run and 2 strikeouts. Both starting pitchers brought a lot of juice.
Yeah, both starting pitchers were great out of the gate. It was so impressive to see Anthony Veneziano dealing today. 5 1/3 innings, only allowing 3 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. He did a tremendous job. He outlasted Alek Manoah. He beat him with the win in terms of runs allowed. It was good to see Veneziano throwing fast, working low in the zone, and it was the best stuff that we've seen from him in the 2018 season. It gives some promise for later on in the year as well.
In the spring of 2017 with the Portland Pilots, Bo Brundage hit 1 home run. 1 home run also in the spring of 2018 with Portland, and now 1 home run in the summer of 2018 with the Kettleers. He strikes with a solo shot to right to lift the Kettleers to their 9th win of the season, so the Kettleers now 9-8. They stay in 4th in the West, get a little pad ahead of the Falmouth Commodores in 5th. Chatham drops their record to 8-7-2. Any final thoughts as we head over to Falmouth tomorrow?
Yeah, Mike Roberts is a happy camper down there, and the media availability, along with our writing team, Ben Fisher, Zach Kaplan, Mason Horodisky. Of course, a big shout-out to him as our producer on the broadcast today, and Colin Haas-Hill as well from the Cape Cod Times.
I believe we're 5-0 now when Colin covers our games.
That's the final thought. He's a little bit of a good luck charm. You just see him down there. Good win for Mike Roberts' side. You got to find a way to win these kinds of ball games, the one-run ball games where you're not hitting too well, but you get good pitching, you're facing some good relief pitchers, and the Kettleers found a way to do that today. It took some extra innings. They did it. They went at home. A good home win to have you feeling good on a Sunday and head into the next week. Above 500, that's what you'd like to see, and hopefully the Kettleers can string together some wins because a lot of Western Division opponents coming up, and those games are huge for the divisional race.
So on a hot, steamy July 1st, the Kettleers strike with their 2nd walk-off win of the season, 4-3 over Chatham. Next game will be tomorrow at Falmouth, 6 o'clock first pitch. Sam and I will be on the call from Gov Fuller Field. Listen over at mixler.com/Cotuit Broadcasting. So for my broadcast partner, Sam Niederman, our entire video production team here in Cotuit, Bailey Houston, Mason Horodisky, Max Curran, and Martha Johnson, I'm Sam Brief, signing off until tomorrow. Final score from Loa Park, 4-3, Kettleers on a walk-off. We'll talk to you tomorrow from Falmouth. Until then, have a great Sunday night.